opened it and I didn't click the button.
Team player.
Okay, so when you create a branch, you're kind of it's like a bit like copying your current folder that you're working on. You probably done that before. Like you're working on something, you want to try something new, and you just copy the folder, and then keep working. And if you want to go back, you just go back to your original folder. And if you do this many times, at some point you probably don't know what's what anymore, which is quite common. It can happen with branches as well. But yeah, the branch is basically like, yeah, you're typically on master, and then you want to do something new, you create a new branch, and you do that. In this case, you create a new branch for your homework. Create that, do your homework, push that branch to GitHub, and then once that's merged on GitHub with the master, you can update your master on your computer, and then you do your next homework by creating another branch, and that's the way it goes. There's probably a chance that you'll be like, that your previous homework hasn't been merged with master before you start your new homework though, so in that case, I mean, you just create a new branch out of master for that. Does this make sense?
I have just posted it on the class12 branch, how to do it, steps.
Yeah, but this, yeah, the steps are kind of the easy part. The tricky part is you know what you're doing and where you are when you're doing things. And that's a matter of paying attention most often. I mean, I also mess up sometimes. I was updating the contents for this class, for instance, and I did everything on master, and then I'm about to commit, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm still on master.
I uploaded master, so my question is, can I upload one file in a branch? Let's say we have three exercises.
Yeah.
So we will have 3 different types of things.
Yeah.
I correct one with JavaScript and I finish it. That one is finished.
Yeah.
I need to wait until I correct everything, the 3 types of things that I have in that branch, or I can just upload one file.
I mean, like when you upload, like when you push something, you push whatever has been committed in that branch. So if you have 3 files and you only commit one, when you do the push, it's only that one that goes.
And when I look at the branch, what it's going to have? Just one?
Yeah, when you look on GitHub, only one will be there. But your computer, you'll have all of them. It's just that until you commit, it's like it's as if nothing is there. Like for instance, this stupid thing I did with like doing everything on master, like it was not that bad because I noticed before I commit. So I created a new branch, and because I hadn't commit anything on master, when I create a new branch, everything is there still. So then I just commit on that branch. Like a thing belongs to a branch after you commit. Until there, it's like, yeah, it's there, but it's not really on anything. So yeah, just to see, for you guys to see some drawings, I'll try to make this bigger. Why do I change browsers? That's not very smart. Let me go to Chrome. Does it work? No. Okay, maybe we too much. Okay. Can everyone see back there? So this is just I think I sent you this before. This website with tutorials that are interactive, and I'm just using the part where I can just, yeah, do things without any goals. So yeah, if I keep committing, you see things going there on master. If I want to create a new branch, I just type git branch, and let's say homework 1, and now it shows up there. But I mean, I'm still on master, I haven't changed. So also, yeah, keep this in mind. You might create a branch, but you need to actually go there. So you do git checkout homework 1, and now you see that the star changed. And now if you commit stuff, you'll commit to that branch. So we see the color changed. I can do a few more commits. And now what you do, and in this version you don't have that, but use just, like if you're done with your homework, you just push it to GitHub. And then for the next time, you go back to master and you create a new branch for homework 2, and then you of course need to go there using checkout, and you can keep doing your homeworks and other commits. And the merging part will happen like in a weirdish way, because like you'll be merging by updating your master with what you have on GitHub. Like you actually, so you can imagine that this thing is kind of repeated both on your computer and on GitHub. Like so on GitHub you'll also have like these branches, homework 1 and homework 2, and then in there that's where when you do the pull request and it gets merged, that's where your branches get merged with master. And then when you update your local master, you get already the master with the merged branches. It's not making sense to you, is it? How do I? Okay, let me show you. I'll do the workflow that you'll be doing on Git then. I'm just going to create a new repo, which will be my homeworks. Okay, so I'm creating a new repository for my homework. And now I'm creating my HIF homework folder. Maybe I'll call it homework as well, so that the names stay consistent. I'm going to create a file for homework 1, but of course first of all I need to create my repository. Let's make it good. So the typical git init that you don't need to do anymore because you already created your repository. If I do git branch, nothing shows even. If I do git status, I see that I have my homework 1 file there. So I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna add it to my repository. Okay, git status. And let's pretend this is my first homework and it's on master and it's all good. And I'm on master. And the thing that I do like to push this to GitHub would be just git push. Git push homework master. Wait, what the heck am I doing? Origin. Do you remember what the origin is?
No.
No? Does anyone remember what origin was?
I think it's the first connection being created and wait, I think origin is not being created. It's already there, we just have to use it. Right?
Maybe origin was the folder which we have from
Was class of matter. Yeah, and then we had a matrix with repository for the exam.
Okay. You're on the right track. Yep. So I actually haven't. I totally forgot to add the remote to this repository, and the remote is indeed my GitHub repository. So first I need to add it. Yep. Git remote as origin, and now now if I do this, I can see that origin is this link. So it's my homework page, my homework repository on GitHub. So yeah. Wow. Git push origin master. So I'm pushing to origin to branch master. One day I'll create an SSH key for this. And now if I go there, I have my homework 1, as expected. Now I'll do my homework 2. And now when I want to do my homework 2, I'm going to create a branch just for that. So I'll go git branch homework 2 I'll check out. There's a command that does both things in one. I'm just on purpose doing step by step, but and now I switched. But if I want to make really sure in which branch I am, I just type git branch and I make sure I'm in the right one. So I'll go back to my. I'll create a new file. Homework 2. And I'll type something here. Doesn't really matter what. If I do git status, of course I have nothing. And now I could go to master actually. This is just an aside. If I go to master, because I haven't committed anything, I still see it. But only because I haven't committed. So I'm going back to my homework 2 branch. Git. I'll add the file, the typical thing, and then I'll commit. And when I oh wait, you guys are not using you guys use code VS Code right when you do the commits, or do you just do everything in line? In line. Okay, so I'll do it in line as well. So let me just check in which branch I am before I commit. So before I potentially make some mistakes. I'm on homework 2, which is fine. So I'll commit. Added homework 2. And now to push is more or less the same thing, except the name of the branch is changing. So I'll do git push origin anyways, but now it will be homework 2 branch. And if I go there, you see that on master, let me make it bigger. On master I still only have homework 1, but if I go here on the branches, I see that I have another branch, homework 2. And in there I see my new file. And now I can create, like I'm on this branch, which is more or less what you did already. Like you get to the same result when you do using only GitHub. And then if I do new pull request, it's the same thing that you guys have been doing so far. So, homework 2 to master, you might say something or not, and then you create a pull request. So far so good. And now you have that case where you forgot something or your teacher just said, hey, please change this, and you want to change that. And you change that on your computer, so I'm just going to write a second line here and save it. And now I'm again going to make sure that I'm on the right branch. And I'm going to, I also like to do git status a lot. That's like my favorite command, which also tells me on which branch I am. And tells me that which file was modified. So I'm going to, add the changes, commit them, update homework 2, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to push this. And oh, this was fast. So first you add only one commit, and now on the pull request that you created, you already see the second commit with the updates. And if you want to see, the files changed in general, you see that both lines are there. So when you want to do updates, this way is a bit better, I think.
Is the another folder fine?
So sorry.
Just go back.
Where?
Just the last page.
Like here,
So, which one you click? Updated? Or
I actually just went to files changed.
Okay.
Although I think if I had clicked here, the result would be similar, maybe. Yeah, it just shows me like which what was added in this commit.
And the last one, can we delete that?
No.
Is it possible?
No.
As we have now updated one, so we have now 2 files.
No, it's the same file.
Is it same?
It's just that you change the file, so and you commit it again, so the 2 commits show there. But
Okay.
it's just like file changes. I didn't add anything.
And also the GitHub has to keep the changes, right?
Yeah,
We have
everything
Yeah,
keeps the
because
change.
that's what it's for.
Yeah.
And then we can track, like if sometime it happens, like we need to go back to the previous
Exactly.
thing. That's why we don't delete it.
Can you open the first one? Yes.
Yeah.
So this is okay.
There's only one line.
This just I'm thinking if we just update the one file so that we have update one file 2 or 3 times, and we have 3 files, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and we send it to Mentor to check or to you. So which one he should open?
Oh, was the last one, right?
The last one. It's logically
As
Will it be done automatically somehow? Like, will it overwrite itself? Or will the mentor have to go and see just the history of our commits? Or should that work automatically?
let me just do something. Okay, so I'm going to make a change in this file. I'm guessing I'd probably go. What did I do? I don't remember what I
If you
did for
click
the
there
homeworks.
at HW, yeah, there from master from the first, yeah, no,
This one?
yeah. Then let's see what we see. The latest one, or
Yeah, you see
Updated.
everything. But like what I wanted to, like I just forgot how I gave you feedback, you know?
or maybe
But I think I was probably like going here and writing stuff. And then probably I started the review, or maybe not, but that's details. Yeah, so I just went to the files change and
Files change.
got the latest
they
results.
get the last one.
And I can actually like try to do something else. So I'm just going to remove a few characters here and add a few others. So I basically changed the first line. And I'm going to commit again. And I'm going to push again. Yep. Okay. Maybe it's not there yet. Oh, this. Yeah, I only see the final results totally. Like you can, it's a bit weird to read, but you can see that it's the same thing. So yeah, that's where I go. Files change. Video. Sorry, say again?
I think you only have selected one commit, so you see in the previous one.
I don't think so. I just clicked files change. I didn't select any commit. Actually, but I can see what was there before. I mean, oops, it was this weird thing. Is it the same? Oh, I see what you mean. But now I did refresh and it's fine. So, why is it? Okay, this is weird. Like I click here, and then it's okay. Now it's okay. I don't know. Like it was showing a refresh button here, and now it is not anymore. But I guess I can go to the latest commit, which shows me this. This is not really what I want to see, so I still want to go to files changed. And then I'll get the latest result in principle, or I'll get a refresh button there. Anyways, I'll see the latest version of your homework. Yes?
I have a question, because I did it, I updated the homework and I did it wrong because I put it into the master branch. So I have a database homework 1, and then I have the corrected files in the master.
Mm-hmm.
So then how do I fix that?
Okay, I'm not going to explain that here. I'll make a video at home. But there's this cherry pick thingy that you basically get commits from another branch into your current branch. And I guess that's what you'd want to do. You'd want to be in your homework branch and you want to get that one commit from master.
I guess, yeah.
You want to get those changes that you made
Yeah,
into
then
your
I put
homework.
it in the branch, just move it in the homework.
So that's basically picking the commit from there to
Mhm.
your current branch. I'll just make a video about it. Otherwise, I will not do databases today.
Okay.
That's a bit bad.
I have one question.
Yes.
What if I merged my branch into the master branch, and what if I want to make change? Do I have to make my change in the master branch, just like we used to do git push origin master?
Where did you merge? On your computer or on GitHub?
I did a pull request,
Mhm.
and I merged it without making any changes.
Okay.
And we
So
merge
now-
it in the website.
Yeah.
With the website. We merge it with the website. With part of the command line.
No.
She
Yes,
merged it
yes,
in the
I
repo, yeah.
yes, yes, I merged it with the website. So now I want to make change. Do I have to push it to the origin master?
Yeah. So let's do that. Well, more or less, it depends. Like, okay, so
That's what I'm thinking.
This one sits there.
it's not that clear cut.
Yeah, that's
It's
what
like-
Wait a second. So basically, you just merge the pull requests here, right? So if you did nothing else, so after you merge the pull request, you should probably update your master on your computer, anyways. So is do git checkout master to go to your master branch, and I'll still do git branch because I like to do it. I make sure that I'm on master. Double checking things is always a good thing when you're doing Git. Now I'm going to do git pull origin master. So I'm getting master from GitHub. Oh, awesome! It didn't even ask for password. So and now, like, if you didn't do anything else on your homework branch or anything, like this branch and your homework branch are the same, so you don't need to do anything else. Like you can double check by doing git if and then the other branch name. Did I? Oh, I see. Also,
I just merged it, and if I didn't do anything, I think they're the same. But if I want to make some other changes, I think do I have to push it? Do you guys?
if
I understand.
Yeah.
But Martha, I think
But
in that way she doesn't have to pull it, right? Because she's just
Exactly.
going to do changes in one.
so wait a sec. So after you merge, like you did your homework, it got merged with master. In general, you should probably update your master and then you start new branches from there. In your case, you want to go and do some changes on your homework, so you can update master still. That's probably a good idea always. But then you go back to your homework branch, you do your changes. I'm going to just add a third line here. And you do the same process. And you need to open a new pull request, I guess, if you want feedback. But it's always doing the same thing. It's just about knowing when to do things and what you're doing.
I have a question.
Yes.
How can I manage with the command line without website? If I don't like website, for example.
Sorry, say
If I
again?
have for example, it's like what you had did before. You had create a lot of things with the command line. So after that, when you go to when you went to website, you found a new branch in the GitHub. So after, if I go for example request, if I have request now, I can if I want to manage it to my master, so I can just push on the click on the button manage on the website. If I want to do that with the command line.
That's a very good question. So basically, how to merge your branch
Because
on
if I want to do all my codes in
Yep.
command line.
that makes perfect sense. But I'm just then wanted to say something, so
I
I'll
wanted to add something.
Yes, please.
So there's this like master branch and different branches, and there was a suggestion like, can I push directly to master? Like when you start working in a company, you don't do that. It's like Martha mentioned that, like, oh, it was about to make a master. Like there's this concept is not a feature in Git, but it's this concept of a public branch. Like master is a public branch, meaning that if we are all in the same company, we're all working with that branch. Imagine that everyone, like 20 people, how many are we here? We push into the same branch, it's just going to be a mess. Like,
If
it
you
doesn't.
don't have, if you don't understand the concept, how it's then how it works, so you will not.
That's what I'm going to try to explain now. Okay. And you mentioned GitHub. Who knows the difference between GitHub and Git?
And Git.
Okay, can you try to explain in your words what's GitHub, what's Git?
GitHub, it's a website. Support you can give you a place to get to put a code for Git. And also Git, it's like a concept, universal concept. There are a lot of websites can give you this service. So GitHub one of them.
Okay,
I
so
can add one point.
yeah.
GitHub is a website. It's available for everybody because of our customer system.
No. You also have Git on GitHub.
But Git is
Otherwise it wouldn't work, right?
Git is a version control system. It allows you to control the versions, right?
Concept Git. It's a concept to all the programs for example they work about on some projects, so they can put they work with this together. But GitHub, it's a website give you this service.
It's a hosting service.
It's a hosting, yes.
That's what it does.
That
It hosts
yes.
whatever. Okay. So
That's what I mean.
so we don't confuse.
No.
Okay, cool. Back to the public, master branch and things like. What in your case, you merged in master. We know it's a public branch, we don't touch that one. We never push it. Like that's golden rule of Git, we never push that. Because then everyone else will have problems with that when they are taking their branch. What you're gonna do when you like master versus small changes, you're gonna
Yeah, I'm looking
you
at it.
can do two things. First, you either go in master, you get the latest changes from origin, like from your remote, yeah, and then you create a new branch with the updated master, right? Or the second is you keep the same branch if you haven't deleted it, you update it from master with the latest changes, and then you can push new changes to the same branch, the updated one, and then you create a new purpose. Why I keep mentioning updated? Because right now you're working alone in that one. But when you start working in a company, you're gonna work with more people, meaning that by the time you push your changes, master changed those. So you need to get the latest changes all the time to make sure that they don't work like an old version of the code. And the origin, like someone tried to explain it, like what's this origin?
The origin,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Maybe my language is not correct, but it's not good to me. The origin is like a place, a big place. You can put. It's like a hosting, original hosting, if I can say that. So you master, it's a part of origin. So the origin is like a father, it's a parent, and the master, it's like a sharer. Maybe you can also
Origin is basically it's an alias to a remote repository. Is the word remote, meaning that it's somewhere else, right? In this case, it's in GitHub service. It can be on Atlassian source tree, whatever, right? So it's a remote instance where you link it your local machine with that remote one, which is like one source to that where the local is stuck. So this is the origin, it's a remote link. Because if it's not online somewhere, no one else has access to it. So that's why we do this. And it's just an alias origin. It's basically linking your local stuff with your remote server.
So
can you just simply say from the connection and it has like a branch consonant like sounds to like address whenever you do like push origin master, it just tells you where the files are going.
Yeah.
Something like it's like a very, very simple word because that's how I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just show you one last thing, and then if there's questions or anything, there's a break, and after the class I'll stay here for anyone who wants to ask questions. Otherwise, there's no databases today. The last thing I'm going to show is like, okay, so it will go with the merge on the local machine that Mohammed was asking also. So it will be like the case where, oh god, I need to reproduce that again. So, but it will be the case where you did your homework 2, well, I will have to create an homework 3, it is still being reviewed by the time you start homework 4. So then you'll be working on homework 4 when you finally merge homework 3 with master, and then you'll need, or you'll want to update what you have on your homework 4 branch. Did that make sense? Fine.
No, you have made sense. I didn't understand. Sorry.
I like to hear those answers though. If I don't like the opposite. When you don't understand and you say yes, that's a problem. So thank you for that. Anyways, I'm gonna write it down so maybe it gets a bit clear. So you do homework 3, and then you start homework 4 while homework 3 is being reviewed. Homework 3 is merged with master on GitHub while you work on homework 4 on your computer. So far so good, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you want to update your homework 4 on your computer with homework 3. Did this make sense?
On your computer or on GitHub?
You're still working on homework 4 on your computer. Like, it's just if you understand the concept of what you want to do. It's not like how you do it yet.
Is it like we have given a task of a shopping cart, and it's like we were saying in another homework that update this, and we created a copy in another folder. Like we made first it in homework 3, and then we copied those files, and we start working on it with homework 4, and then we want to update it or to merge the code or to update it. Because how can we work further if
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it like that?
Yeah, I think it is like
God.
that. Because you did shopping cart first,
Yeah.
and then
That's a
when
good
you're doing
point.
something, and then
Yeah.
you're trying to merge
Yeah.
with the old thing.
So you need the contents of your previous homework to start working on your second
yeah,
homework.
that's what they're trying.
Yeah, that's a different case and very important one. Let me just think for a second how to do that best.
And I think this fourth line mean like that.
Mm.
Yeah. So, so the tricky thing is, oh god, how should I do that? Should I be merging homework 3 with master and start a new branch from there?
I would be updating the old file, and then just like you showed in the beginning, that she wrote the second line in the old file, and then it was updated. So I would be taking the original file, which was in homework 3. I would be updating that one, and then
It's like full update. Create or update code here, and then update the whole code.
So a tricky part is that there's different ways to do that, and I'm trying to think
Yeah.
which one is best.
I think we can merge also, isn't it?
Didn't hear the case.
The-
What's the problem?
The case is like they have the homework last month or somewhere 2 weeks back or last month sometime. They created folder, they created some file, and now after some time they have new homework, which is related to the last homework. Okay, so there are 2 ways.
But
They can update the old homework because they are using the old file, and they can create the new file and they can merge 2 things. But I think
that's probably the messiest
yeah.
thing, because if you create the same file, but the
Yeah, no,
time
we
you
don't
try to
want to
merge
do
it,
that.
you don't have much conflict in it.
Can I formulate it in a different way? So the 2 options that I'm thinking is,
But I need to ask a bit, like, the previous homework, is that in a branch? Is that merged in master? Because it depends.
Exactly.
It is in the master.
So
isn't
wait
it?
a second. I'm thinking of the case where you're working on your homework for Node.js week 1, let's say this.
Yeah.
And the week 2 homework will build on that.
Yeah.
But week 1 is still under review on GitHub.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is, so it hasn't been merged into master on
Yeah.
GitHub. So my thing is, on my computer, what's the best practice? To create a branch for homework 2 starting from homework 1, or should I be exactly?
That's the best case, because then, like, I don't know how to explain to not confuse everyone.
Yeah, that's
but,
tricky.
Like, this all Git, like Martha showed you, like those bubbles.
Let me get back
Like
to that.
You have like each branch is based on something. You see those arrows? Like it's based on something, and like each bubble in there, it has a code. It's like a hash something. So it's good to start from the previous homework. So you continue with that, because if you create some other stuff which are the same file names, you're gonna have conflicts on those bubbles. But otherwise, you're just gonna continue. I don't know exactly how to explain, not to confuse everyone.
Yeah, but you're going on the right direction. No worries.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
Within like 1 hour, maybe what we can do is to
make a video at home. So I'll just show you.
No, not just the video, but maybe we should put all together our question. For example, my question, how I do this, how I do that.
Yeah.
So then you have our questions, and maybe I think the best for us that we are not getting yet, it's like,
Frequently
for
asked
me it would be
questions.
easy to have a file that says, okay, update in the master, this comments, commit in the homework, doing this.
Okay.
That would be maybe easier.
Yeah, let's organize it.
Okay.
It's like FAQ.
Huh?
Frequently asked question. FAQ help file.
Yeah, we can do that. I can set that up on GitHub, and
Yeah.
everyone leaves a question, and then I'll try to answer, and everyone has access. That's
That
a
would be
good idea.
best, I guess.
Like comments.
Okay, so
So they gave you homework now.
yes, I just got myself in a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to show this thing that we're talking with then, just so that it stays here and recorded, and then you can go and see it. So yeah, let's do this. You do homework 3. You have homework 4 that builds on homework 3. So, and you start homework 4 while homework 3 is being reviewed. So how do you go about this? And what we just got to the conclusion that you should do is, when you create your branch, you don't create it from master, so you don't go to master and create a branch, because you don't have homework 3 on your master yet. Instead, what you do is you stay on your homework 3 branch and create a branch from there. Now, this will imply that at some point when homework 3 is finished, and if there has been any updates, like if you need to update your homework, you always go back to that branch and you update it there. And that's totally fine. But then, if you need those updates on homework 4, you need to merge homework 3 with 4. And it sounds a bit complex because it is a little bit in the beginning, especially. But like what it would look like would be, how the heck do I clear this up? I guess if I refresh, it will be. So now I'm going to check out and create a branch at the same time. So let's say homework 3, and now I do some commits, git commit, and now I'm done with this. I will push it, and I'm going back, and I'm going to create my new branch for my homework. And because I need the contents from homework 3, I'm going to create it straight away from there, instead of going back to master and creating a new one. So I'll do my commits. I'll do 2 commits. Now imagine I have to update homework 3. So I go back to that branch. And I'll do my new commit, so new update. I'm done there. I'll go back and keep working on my homework 4. Yeah, doesn't exist. I'll do another commit. And now, yeah, these changes have been approved and I need them on my homework 3. So I'm going to merge the homework 3 with homework 4. And to do that, I'm on the homework 4 branch and I'll just type git merge homework 3. And now you see that the arrows are pointing also to the homework 3. This basically means that I also have those contents on my homework 4. And I can keep working from here. Lots of confusion. I got myself into a rabbit hole. Jesus Christ.
Like, what we are request like in one module is not the same that we are requested in another one. So in that case, for example, if it's the 8 Hack Your Future Bay, I will keep like in homework, for example, week 2 of JavaScript 2. And then if I need to update more, I will do it like in the next module, in the next folder. Like I prefer to have like, yeah. Because, for example, if you're working just with HTML and CSS, and then the update corresponds to JavaScript, for example, like it will be really confusing, I think. So I prefer to just grab these files, copy them, maybe name it Hack Your Future Bay 2.
Yeah, and it goes to another folder.
Yes. Instead of merging, because otherwise I need to merge homework 3 with homework 4. Maybe they are different modules and everything.
No,
so
wait a second.
it will be a little bit messy.
Does it ever happen to you? So maybe I'm imagining cases here. Rabbit hole. Like, does it never happen to you that you need to keep building on a file that you created before?
That is the homework of Hack Your Future Bay. We started with one exercise.
And you keep, but you're copying the files to different folders.
I think that would be the best option, so you can keep on track.
Yeah,
of
because
what
you have
have
different
learned,
folders for different homeworks.
and it's different modules.
How do you update your files though? Like, I'm imagining this case, for instance. You did the homework from JavaScript week 3, and then it's still under review and you start week 4. And then if you do some updates on week 3, how do you get them to week 4? You just copy paste everything?
You just read the week 3 on week 3, and when you come to week 4,
You make a new folder.
yeah,
Folder,
folder
new
with
files.
something
Everything
that
new.
If you reuse, you just copy.
Copy paste and
it's
Yeah.
not one file.
So I just explained something that you don't want to use.
No, maybe another
but it's
person
good.
wants to use it. Right?
Okay, well now it's recorded. Now you know if you need it. What can I do?
What's the problem with this? Like, we're trying to avoid like this messy thing, right? With like, how do we update stuff?
Yeah,
But what's gonna happen when you actually work on a product that you can't create another folder in the same file?
yeah, wait a second. But the thing is, for their homework, they have different folders for each week.
And
So it's just the way they work.
Yeah.
It's an O's.
It's kind of like tracking the evolution of
Yeah.
what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, and the
Get
concept.
what he's saying.
No,
Yeah.
If you work in a company and you don't have different others.
Yeah, maybe we will learn them.
Yeah, and the concept you were saying just now, I was saying the same thing. Like in the actual environment, if we have the project and suppose we have one product and we are adding some features in the product. So in that case, we don't create new file for that project. We just go to the old file, we update the small piece of code, and then we merge it. into it. So that is a practical scenario, but in this scenario, they are creating new folder for new homework. So I think there is a confusion.
Yeah, because also sometimes you have like the Hack Your Future Bay that was 3 weeks, but between weeks, the method adds something extra. So it's not exactly just grabbing the what we finished last week and
And continue.
yeah,
on top of
he
it.
adds another stuff and then now it's beautiful there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just because it's not a, but real life we're gonna work as you.
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, but this you could learn later, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just an
But I think
artificial
we cannot
situation that
decide
we will
because
never
we're
have.
going to do a final project anyways, and then
Yeah, no.
Yes, but you have a Git class before the final project, so you don't need to learn everything now. Okay, let's switch to databases. And then in the break, I'll find someone to give me a real case scenario, and then I'll make a video at home and send you. hopefully learn some things
You
too.
guys could what we suggested to like have a, I don't know, a thread on Slack that's questions.
Yeah.
And based on that, you can make presentation with examples.
Yeah.
You do them in real life.
You
Like,
just took away your homework.
Wait, but like,
like a video kind of stuff for presentation.
don't you think it would be better on a GitHub repository just so that everyone has access and it's more organized though?
Yeah, so it will be not only
I was
specific for
thinking
the channel.
like create like a video presentation kind of stuff with different examples. Like showing proper examples, like okay, what happens when you update this branch and
Yeah.
that, and the homework change.
Yeah, that would be really nice because practically they will need this knowledge.
Yeah, and if it's recorded, I guess it's like you can always go back.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I was thinking like putting it on a GitHub repository or something just so that it lives beyond that channel, you know.
Oh, yeah.
That's the main thing. It's a bit more organized and like next classes can use it as well.
Yeah.
And also they can like post questions there, like
Yeah,
just by
definitely.
pull requests.
But it would be nice to, for me at least, to have a base where to start from.
Sure,
like,
sure.
questions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can try to explain.
Okay. That was a hell of an attempt to go into Git. Let's go to databases. Questions about the homework.
You asked me to make that query when the title is null. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't figure it out. I tried to do it with some example, but it doesn't work. You asked me if
You know, I don't remember.
title is null. How could you count?
Yeah, so a few things that I only checked 2 homeworks to be honest, and both homeworks had this thing that they were counting rows by using a column that was not ID, which you know is never null, and it was not just all the columns like with the asterisk. And my question to both of those people was, are you sure this column can never be null? And if it can be null, which column should you use to do the count instead?
For the count, it's always should be ID. I think so because it's going to be unique and it's going to be like a value.
Yeah.
Count star. I'm not sure. That's not the maybe perfect way to do it. Count ID.
Yeah, count ID.
So count star is totally fine because it's counting all the lines. So that will give you good results. But like select count title from task, for instance, and if I didn't see this, I saw something very similar. You need to, if you really want to use title, and I don't know why you would want to do that, maybe if you actually count tasks that have titles that are not null.
Yeah.
In that case, yes, of course you are using the title. But otherwise you at least would have to check if title can be null or not. And for that you do like describe table name, and it will show you, sorry you guys in the bottom, it will show you like all the fields, all the field names, and then here there's this null column, and if it says no, it means that it cannot be null, like the ID. Of course, actually the title cannot be null. So you can use the title to count how many tasks you have in your table. But for instance, description can be null. And I have, let's see, maybe the result is fine, but maybe not. Let's see if it's 35. Oops. No, it's 24. So there's 11 tasks that have description, like nothing in the description. And if you would use this field to count how many tasks in total you have, you'd get the wrong number.
No. I thought it in a different way, and I wanted to figure that one out, but I couldn't. And how I thought you asked me that was like I thought that there was another table which was user, I guess, yes, and there was a date which is due date, and it contains date and time. and there were some fields.
I'm sorry, I need to go and check here.
Yeah, check user
I don't
table.
know what was there, and it was like Tuesday or something. So of course I don't remember what I was saying on Tuesday. Slack, go up fast. So this January 29th. Yeah. What was that you? Which query was it?
Yes.
Which number?
What if a task had a null as title?
Yeah.
So if let's suppose there is a table and it has few columns, and the title is null.
Start from user.
No, user has that.
User.
Wait,
User.
but that was not.
Yeah, user doesn't have a title.
Yeah, the user doesn't have a title. This was task.
Yeah.
That's not.
While I have this question, if it is possible, can you please answer me that I was counting null in this due date,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking that maybe I was wrong. I thought that you are asking if the title is null of any table, how can you count the null inside that table?
Ah, no, I was referring to the title for tasks. If you had a task with a title that was null. Just like the due date is null. Like the description is null here. Like my question was, sorry, maybe that was not clear, but my question was, because you're using the title to do the counts,
Yeah.
what if one
Okay.
title is null, just like the description is?
Okay. And I thought that maybe I would have
No.
another column which have a title null,
No.
and the content will be null, not null, null, not null. And
No.
how would I count? I mean,
No, that was very, no,
yes,
that's,
yes.
no,
So
no. Okay, so now you got it.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That was it.
So think twice before you use some column to do the counts. Any more questions?
Yes, for this done status.
For the what?
The word done.
Okay.
Can we search for one word in all the database?
In all the database,
In all.
like all the columns.
Yeah, all the schedules. That only
As-
one word as
We have this
our
question.
So you'd want to see if you'd have the word done, like in the title task, in the titles, in the descriptions, in the state.
because that takes us.
Of course, you can do like the very exhaustive thing of going column by column and looking if it's done. So it's a bit like there was
But you
a
have to
query
do-
about if you find the word description in the title or in the the word databases in the description or in the title, and you go to those columns and you check. So you could go to all possible columns and check.
But you have
Okay,
to
but-
go through to every single column, right?
But I think you have like stuff like elastic search and other weird stuff that I don't know much about that will do it for you.
You do have a command like that, but it's very, when you become expert and when you are used to, like if you want to find some store procedure, or you don't remember if there is a table, task table, in which database it is. So there are commands, find task, or in SQL it is different command, MySQL it is different command. So you need to find which command. But yeah, there are some commands. You can find what table name is there. Is this table name is there? And is this store procedure name is there? Or you can even down your search. But yes, there are few commands for that.
Also look into Elasticsearch, might be what you want. It's a bit more complex. Okay, anything else or should I move on?
Before that, can we just show them one thing? And scroll a little bit up. Yeah. So count. Can you show them as? Because most of them are doing. Suppose count.
Yeah, some of you did it I saw it on someone's homework or something. Like when you select stuff here, like for instance count description, you can like say as
Total description.
total,
Yeah.
yeah, something
you can
like.
give nice user-friendly name. So basically, in
Oh,
table,
yeah.
generally like ID, or suppose updated, or suppose due date, or suppose something is it's not user-friendly, but in general, in practical life, we want to have nice name. So count real column name as your user-friendly name.
I saw someone doing that, by the way.
Me.
Like,
That was me.
so yeah, that's cool. Like, yeah, I don't know how
That's
much
a good
you.
practice, but
If you are going to probably be using SQL from Node with some fancy library like Next probably, so I'm not sure that will be super useful, but it's good to know it exists.
Just like a tiny short question. Are there any conventions when it comes to that with doing this? Because for example, I have a name tasks in task table without valid due date, which is like that long, you know. Are there any conventions regarding this, or like whatever?
Kalpana.
what
You're
was the
the
question?
Like if you have to name it, like if you select count as something,
Yeah.
are there any conventions when it comes to naming these tables?
No,
Maybe
there
it's
are-
just
there
like
are-
whatever you prefer.
Whatever you prefer, but it should make sense.
Okay.
Yeah, like when you revisit the code after 2 years, it should make sense.
Okay.
Or when somebody stranger is, so it should be user friendly.
Okay.
Like underscore or dash, hyphen or underscore.
Avoid hyphens. It can be a minus
See,
sign.
if you are creating a table, okay, so be consistent. It's just like naming convention with your JavaScript when you decide variable names as a camel case. So just like same concept follow in your programming. When you are creating table, like due date will be too long, like due and date. That's why they put underscore. So whenever that kind of column name is coming, so try to put underscore in it. If you are not doing that, like suppose capital D and capital D due date, you are joining like that. So be consistent with that. So that's the only suggestion I can give. Plus, if you go to the naming convention for the tables, so just like she explained in the first session, like user, then be like singular, user, task. Then if you're student, if you're going for plural, then students, tasks, users. So be consistent with that.
Okay,
Anything else?
so now on to many relationships. I think I'll start with that. The rest is easy, so I can squeeze it in less time. So far it has one user can do many tasks, but one task is only done by one user. Like there are no users collaborating on anything, right? So the way you had this encoded in the database was, I don't really feel like going back there, was to use this user ID field that has like the ID for the user that was responsible for that task. And now my question for you is, when I have two users doing the same task, so like, what task is this? Like washing clothes. There are two users washing clothes. How do I put this in my database?
Two users will have unique user ID, but at the same task ID.
So I go in the user table and put the task ID there?
No, in user table I will have only user ID, but in the task table I will have user ID and task ID.
Let me use my favorite program, Excel, to try and visualize that. So you have the user table, you have IDs, you have name. 1, 2, let's say Priyanka, sorry if I misspell something. And afros, and you have task. And you have also an ID, 1, 2, let's say 4, 5, 6. And one is wash clothes, the other is do homework. And so far, title. You just have a user ID and say Priyanka is washing clothes while Afros is doing the homework. What? Okay, this is a bit out of control. So now I want to say that both Afros and Priyanka are washing clothes. How do I do that? what you were trying to say was that I should go here and put the task ID there?
No, the task ID should be unique. It doesn't make sense. Maybe we can have another.
Wait, the task ID, like this is unique in the task table, the ID. But the task ID, if I add a task ID here, because it's a foreign key, it doesn't have to be unique. It isn't in general.
Yeah, so the task ID and user table can be the same. If we have an office, they are actually washing clothes, then the task ID is fine. So both of them can have fine.
Like this? What if Afros is also doing the homework? Which is the case, like one user does many tasks. Afros is a multitasker. Tricky business, right?
But
I know.
like, but if she's doing that, then I would just add the new task.
Like,
7, wash clothes.
like this?
User ID 2.
Oh,
No. In the, I will update the task. Yeah.
Oh, here.
Yeah, I will
Wait.
put like ID task 7,
So one.
wash clothes, user ID 2.
So here it's 1 and 2 because, well, no, they were doing the homework together. 1, 2 here. Is that what you want?
Do a new ID task.
A new ID task, like user ID, another user ID
No,
here.
beyond, like a new case. ID
New
number
row.
7.
She
I
will
will do.
insert new row, I guess.
Yeah, new
Like
row.
this.
I will insert a new row.
And then put the 7 here and it's no longer the same thing.
But what happens now?
No, it will be 2, right? Do homework and...
2, 2.
She's
No,
doing
no,
homework
it's the
also.
same. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
this
same.
one.
It's not easier if you make another table.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to hear. So, like, this, like, I'll be talking about database normalization, which is basically just a set of rules so that you don't run into issues when you delete and update and insert new data. And here, like, okay, this is very basic, but like, in our actual database, we have more fields. We have the created, we have due date, all that stuff. And then, like, if I update one of the rows, I'd have to update also the other row. Like, how do I know they're the same row? In this case, like, it's the rule that you should never have like lists of something in an entry. You should only have an integer, a string, whatever it is, but not like lists of integers, which is in this case. So breaking all the rules here. Nice, I like that. And I'm not even joking. So, like Afro says, creating a new table is the way to go. You basically create a table that you think people call it linking tables, association tables, whatever. But I usually go with linking tables. But the point is, that's where you actually do the matching of user IDs and task IDs. So in this case, we have this user task table, and you have user ID and task ID. So let me see if I still remember what it was.
It will have its own ID also. User task ID.
That's like you mean ID column, or
Yeah, it will have its own primary key also.
so in that.
You calling it as a
Wait a second. I'll go there one thing at a time. So the point of this table is to match users with tasks in this case. And so there's user IDs, there's 1 and 2. So Priyanka is doing task 5, and then both Priyanka and Afros are doing task 6, which is the homework. And you see already that doing the matching was not that hard, right? I mean, user ID 1 is Priyanka, she's washing clothes, which is task ID 5. Priyanka and Afros are both doing task 6, which is doing the homework. And this user ID column disappears, no longer needed. This task ID never existed, nice. And here you only have one column, so that you don't have repeated. One row for the homework. Does this make sense?
yes.
So yeah, creating a new table, way to go.
Should all the tables have a primary key for sure?
Yes.
Wait a second. Yes,
Yes.
but you have this thing of composite keys, which basically means that two fields are actually the primary key. And for linking tables, Kalpana for sure knows this
Sure,
better.
you should have primary.
You have an idea?
Yeah, you should have.
I actually don't do this.
You can name it as ID is fine.
So what I've been doing before, and what I'm still doing sometimes when I create my own tiny databases, is that I use a composite key, which is basically saying that the user ID, in this case, it's saying that the user ID and the task ID, the combination of them, are my primary key. Kalpana disagrees, so listen to her probably more than me. But that's, you can do that because the combination of them will always be unique. You'll never put here like 2-6 again. Like, I mean, you already said that Afros is doing the homework. You're not going to say it again. But you can, of course, and apparently it's the best way to do it, create a new field like you do in any other table, ID, and that's it.
Yeah. This because they can have third column also. So in that case, so if this table have their own ID, then it's always safe.
But if there's a third column, like
if another table and the task repetition.
this will still be unique, no?
Yeah, but there are in practical, there are scenarios.
Okay.
So it's always better to have each table its own primary key.
Okay. Yeah, and that's true. That can be, in this case, it's actually already the fourth column.
Yeah.
Because you can have information that depends on the combination, of
Yeah,
course.
because database is something which you cannot create new database. Like suppose we have one product, something shopping cart product is already, the website is already designed. So database will always be there, and you adding new features into it. So according to new features, your database will be the same. So you are adding new tables in it. So in that case, there can be many tables, and this third table, so it can have, going forward, it can have many columns. It will go on increasing. So that's why each table should have its own primary key, which can be a foreign key for the another table in future.
Yeah, so the point is, like, in this case, you could use a combination, but in the future, you don't know what will happen. So you
Yeah.
play safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, since Kalpan is already talking about changing databases, I'll just say a few words about database migration, because we will not be doing that here, but you'll do that in the project. So basically, like, in the beginning, you start with a certain database, you have your tables, you have your fields, but it's not uncommon that, especially in the beginning, as you develop the project, you add new columns, or you add new tables, or change something, and this is, like, this changing of the database is called migration, because, like, you have your current database and then you decide to add a new column, so you kind of migrate to that new database. And usually you have libraries that allow you to do this in a fairly easy way. You just say, you write a script that says, hey, I added this column and blah blah blah. Some libraries do that for you, but that's something that keep in mind that when you hear about this in the project, you already know more or less what it is, I hope. But you'll not be doing SQL, like hard SQL. You'll be doing Next probably. I'd ask Richard to say a few things about that, but I'm pressed on time. You can ask him in the break about database migrations and connects. I'm sure he knows a lot.
Can merge the user ID in one.
What do you mean merge the user ID?
That we have user ID 11, right?
Yes.
And there is two tests.
Yes.
Just to reduce the data. So can we merge that two user ID in one?
You mean I do this?
No, I mean that user ID.
And the second.
Because here we have user ID. We have two user ID in the same for the same person, but they have two tasks.
Yes.
So to reduce that data size we have, So we can just merge this
In-
two row in one row.
So
Like
you
we
mean,
can say, for example, Bianca, who she has.
so I will do this or?
Or 1 comma 2 here.
Oh, wait a second, before saying no straight away, let me try to figure out
Yeah.
what he wants
Let
to
him
do.
think. Let's try to get from him.
So
Maybe
like
he can bring new invention in database. Yeah.
We have one person, they have two tasks.
yes,
right? And they, it's two rows.
yeah.
Can we merge these two rows in one row?
Can you tell me how?
No, I cannot. I'm just asking.
Then I'll just say no, but I cannot say why.
Back to the problem that we had.
When we started.
Like there is no other way. If you try to do that, you're gonna go back to the problem we had, which means you're gonna come back to this.
Yeah, but
That's why we
for
created
example,
new table.
one person have
Yeah, but that's
10
what we
tasks,
find this one.
right?
Yeah.
So we will give him 10 times or 10 rows,
Yes.
and we'll have a lot of that.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
thinking, just we can give him one row, so we reduce that.
Okay, so that means there are two ways of doing that. Well, they're not, but if you try to do it, is either add all those tasks in one column, which is you're
Yeah.
gonna break one of the normalization rules that we can't do that because that was the problem before. Or you can have multiple columns, which you're gonna break another rule of normalization. So it's like there are some rules that you can't do that. Okay.
Like in Excel here, you can merge that.
Okay, wait a second.
Two rows, right?
Let me just tell you also why those rules. Try to convince you why those rules are important. So if I do this, 5, 6, 7 even, when I'm looking like who is doing task 6, I would have to go to this entry, to which entry in task ID, and look specifically for a number. And I would also need to make sure that it's not like a 6 that is part of a 66, for instance.
Yeah.
So this would be extra trouble. The other hypothesis that Zen was saying would be like, yeah, you have different columns, 6, 7, 5. What if I now have another task for this user? I don't have a column to insert it. Also, yeah, it would be, you'd also have to look for each of these columns if number 6 is there. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's just easier to go basically to go to this one. Wait, yeah, 2, 1, 6. It's easier to just go to task ID and get all the rows that have task number 6, and then see what the users are.
Yeah.
It does occupy more space, but like when you're looking for things, it makes your life easier.
I just was thinking about that. Okay, I will search for one person. He has this task.
But you can do that, right?
So yeah, but we have a lot of rows or a lot of.
Yeah.
That's not such a big issue. It's just numbers. And it's just
as
2 in this
as
case.
she said earlier that if we have like 66 tasks and we are searching for 6, so it will give 2 6 from 66, I guess.
Yeah, for instance.
So it is not the right way because there are 266 in 6 and 6. I mean, 2 6 in
I mean,
6
it depends how it would be encoded, if a string or not, but like, so you can see like there's maybe 2 trade-offs in general. Like sometimes you need to occupy more space because what's important is how fast you can look for things and easily without getting errors. Sometimes like it's more, you don't care so much how much time you'll take looking for things, but you want to save space. In this case it's a bit more, you prefer to have things well organized so that you already know that your results are correct, and also it's easier to look for things. But that was a good question. It's always cool to have you guys giving the wrong answers because then we can go on the wise.
And generally this task kind of table, they call it as a lookup table also. So generally, you know, when you see websites, so some suppose country, then each country has how many states in it. When we select country, then we get drop down list. So from that, so generally those drop down, all the items which are coming from drop down, they are sitting in a lookup table. So that is a normalization. So generally, so we don't go adding as a column like task. It's going in that. Can you go to Excel?
Yeah.
So generally, task ID will go whenever we want to add 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, 1, 8. It will go by inserting new row in the user task table rather than going in task ID 1, task ID 2 as a column. Understand? Yeah. And it's called it as a lookup table.
Okay, so in the GitHub repository for lesson 2, I created a new branch for your class, class 12, and in that branch there's another diagram with this new database with many-to-many relationships, and we'll be using it now for a little bit. And yeah, so you have like the user table, which is the same as before. You have the status, also the same as before. Task, it's almost the same, except it doesn't have a user ID anymore, because you have the user task table that has the matching of user IDs and task IDs, and it also has the ID as the primary key. So here you can let's take the data from here. So there's like this lesson2 data.sql and create this database in our computers. So just like in last lesson, href, you create a new database, and you run all the codes here. So I'm going to do that with you, of course. I'm going to first paste this link on Slack. Is this the right place? Yes. So I'm going to open it, get the raw, select everything. I'll give you 2 minutes to get to this point. Did you get lost?
No.
That's fine. Just go to the link I posted on Slack right now.
Yeah,
After that, sorry, I went too fast. So after that, you open the lesson2 data.sql file. I like to go to the raw version and just copy paste everything. And for those using command line, so I'll do the 2 options. Whoever is using command line, just paste it in some text file and save it as lesson2 data.sql or something. For those not using command line and using the workbench instead, yeah, just create a new SQL file, paste it there. You can also save it or not, it's up to you. And I'm going to actually change this file. So I'll say let's create database href lesson2 semicolon use href lesson2, because then it will just create a database, use it, and then it just creates the tables, and that's the data. So in the beginning of your files, both on Workbench and for whoever created just a text file, just add those lines. So I'll do that again. This is too small. What was this? Create database href lesson2 use href lesson2, so that you actually select the database. On the Workbench, I guess you know how to run things by now. You just click here on this first Thunder button and hopefully it all works. I don't see any problems with me. For the command line people, just the cool people. Just open your MySQL and type source, and then you need to give it the full path to your file. Mine is on desktop homework. Jesus Christ. So I'm going to that folder and I'm going to get the full path for it. And probably the way I get the full path for something is not the same as you do, but bottom line is should have source, path to your file, semicolon, and it will.
I get error. I get the same error. Now I get another error.
You get another error.
46. Yeah.
Wait a second, let me try to figure out why I got this error.
You got duplicate ID.
Ah, because I already have this
Yeah,
database.
you already have
Now
this.
what?
She got duplicate because she already has that database.
I already have a database with that name.
You should drop. You should drop the same now or?
Yes, I need to delete it. So to delete the database, you can already know this, it's drop database, and then the name. So I'll do the same thing, source, and now it's fine. Do you need help, Masuma? Yeah. It will take me a long time to get there.
Just a moment, I will copy paste.
Yeah, I just need to find the path like you did last time.
Just create and copy this one, yeah?
Ah, just click raw up there. Click on the raw button because then you can select everything. That's why I went for raw.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you can select everything.
And then you must copy all the, here should be
Yeah.
the same, right? Database.
Click raw like she's doing now.
And now I've got the error.
There's a button that says raw.
Because that's exactly what it should be.
Who's running into trouble?
Me.
Who?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but you're right.
Oh! You know what? First of all, I tried this is class. This is so so I should put all the created. Okay, so this is I'm trying to yeah, but that's right. Because that's how you should. I'm using otherwise, doesn't know what to do.
You already did that. Because you have the
No, because sorry, no, it cannot be one right now.
Oh, right. So let's drop it three, right?
It's not here.
So only two lessons by my brother.
Now I want you to highlight
You don't have any
Exactly. I'm like, I'm only here, so.
I guess it's not
Maybe, because, yeah.
Do you remember like
So
when
it was
that
too long.
didn't work?
Right, I think I so this called the class and okay.
That's right. And then the next slide.
Okay, in both places then. Sorry.
Okay,
it's
can we
just like
try the
put this
first
somewhere and then just like
solution?
join in another
But we
one.
still have the difference, like if you can go back to that.
This is exactly what I was created. And then still not here. But that's
Because there is a semicolon.
one error and SQL.
Okay, so next
I don't know what to maybe I have to deselect this one because that's not the one.
so you try downloading this one, yeah, and then running this one. Do you still have it?
This one, yes.
Do you have let's try the other one first. Then. I think it could be quicker.
I already have this file.
So we will try to
This is my
run
SQL folder in general.
so if you copy this
First
one.
name, that's what I have here.
Yeah, so we try to download from the website, which you still have, right? We can download it. Yeah. My phone will work better.
Because I'm trying to find out. Is this your window connected to?
Maybe there is a connection error.
And you said last time was 19. Yes, okay, so it's still download.
Folder, right? And it's the
So can you just,
maybe I should just rename it.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, maybe just underscore.
Now let's go back on Slack because we have the command line.
Control enter basically will run the
So if you
line
can copy into the line,
not every time. Just
yeah,
use
and
one
then,
and we have the cursor again.
yeah, then we can install it.
I use this.
Can you open a new one so we keep the summary?
And it shows like select everything and then like control it.
That's what I want to do. So basically I want to
Wait a
close
second,
folder.
I need to see where we are. You can do TWD.
So basically if I just rename it, maybe it's just something with the naming.
If
So
you do
I'll
CD
just
download,
start using underscores in place of hyphens.
okay,
Because
key
what works
sensitive
for
deep
other programs might not work for other programs, right? And now I'll basically try to open these two in my
yeah,
workbench.
lazy.
I will
Remember
exactly
that.
the same
Okay, and now you paste.
name. So I'll just copy this. You want not to make a title.
Yeah.
That's what
You
I'll
already
just
have
do.
it.
Let's
You
close this homework anyway.
So now just paste it
Okay.
with right click.
And then,
Oh yeah,
and
okay.
then I want
And
to open it.
space.
That's the
And
thing,
what
because
was
I
it?
have it.
Oops, no, sorry.
So maybe I cannot do it that way, right? So I want to
MySQL and
open
then
it because I already created it. So I'm just opening it. Data. Okay. And now I will have to. Sorry. It's all done. Why? Control Z.
Oh, maybe the two.
What happened? Just
Can you do
disappeared.
another
I need to go back.
settings?
Control Z. Hello.
Space. Space. No, LS space.
Why?
LS space. Dash.
But then I wasn't using
L8.
But then I wasn't using the same.
Okay, so that's why. Because we have two of them, so it was already in there. So if we go back and we say that, okay, so we're not
And now what I
selecting.
want to do is first of all I want to remove this. Switch it into Python.
We'll probably get the error.
Wait, maybe there's some always happens. Okay. And
Otherwise,
remove the one, right? Because
would
it
be
has to
working,
be. Yeah. So it was basically all about this Python. It's oh, okay. Thank you. And let's try to run it right now.
We're just
Yeah.
gonna wait.
No, it's the error. Yeah. Just a quick second. Because that's the
Yeah, okay.
It's running, yeah. Because it's just
Okay.
Like that.
Okay, so if everyone is done,
But what do you have this?
Free. So you can change
people, Tiago,
Because this
how
is
is done?
the basic.
So if everyone is done with this, and if you're not, I'll just yeah, call people. Just do this query where I want to see.
I'm still not done.
I will go there.
Okay.
Well, you have Kalpan, you're fine.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So just before the break, you do this query where you see the titles of each task, the status of each task, and the user for each task.
The user for each task.
So I want to see title, status, user. Did I want anything else? No. This is all I want to see. So as you can probably guess, it involves joining all the tables. And once you're done, take a break.
Okay, I'll just listen to this.
From task?
So you want to see title status? Okay.
And the title of each task, the status for that task, and the user that is doing that task. It's okay if I see repeated titles, by the way.
Just choose one schema. Whatever you choose, that will be the database that you want.
I want this schema.
That would be not your, or which schema you want.
This here.
Microsoft Secret.
Yeah.
No,
So now you can see, yeah, if this is highlighted, this is selected. Okay, I think now you're doing this.
Okay.
Like,
What?
that is selected. It's like this.
Okay, let's
So whatever you run, it will run.
maybe we should deselect. Oh, there we go. We just took time, right? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why they did it. We were not running it. You have to.
Yeah, it is in math, but I don't know
Okay, maybe I was just using the language line execution of maybe one time.
Yeah, so we stick with
Okay, I get you.
yeah, this is the status name. And then just the username. Yeah, I like reading more clear. That's a very
Can you sorry? Can you hover on this? No, can you click on this?
Command and space. Otherwise it doesn't work. And then space.
So I wasn't very clear. I want to see the task title, the username, and the status name.
Status name now.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember right now.
And you can see the diagram on the GitHub page, like what your tables are and what fields are there.
Okay, it's first.
So now you can do exercise.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on now.
No, didn't have.
So everyone has their databases.
And
I have no idea what else we're doing. Assign spices.
no. Try to run this. Click on this.
Wait up. Yeah.
In the row.
but it didn't happen again.
Yeah.
Here you have header,
So why did I
you have to
do
find
that?
that.
Why did I
Because yours existing, so when you delete the table, that's the word for delete the table. If you don't delete it, it's wrong. That's it.
Yeah.
Now you
Just
try
create the
fresh,
relationship.
because you click on
Okay, I get it.
the and table.
Okay, that's why we're using the
And you remember how you
I did.
So you would read and errors, like you would tell you, oh, this database already exists.
Yeah, it existed, but I couldn't see the row. So
The other solution would be, so let's say you already have the table, and we have, what you would do is, not this one, okay. So if the table already exists, you would remove this one, so you don't try to create it anymore. So you will select it, and then that's another way.
and use this. That means
You select the database.
here I am creating. Here I am using that database.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you can see the one you use is the one involved. So if you want to use this one, you say use lesson1, or you can right click if we lazy, and you say use database. If you right click on one, you don't have to select it, but just to see the option. Right click and you say set as default schema. That's the second option. It means you will use. So now it's basically using this. Now you just go back and select this one again. So that's second option. Yeah. But like when you have multiple databases.
Select item from task, select
Did you
name
run
from
it?
task.
Yeah, but obviously I was wrong. It's one query. One
Can we
query.
read
One query.
I want
Let's
for
read
each
this.
task title, what what's the name of the status and what's the name of the user.
So it's not this side joint side.
What's
Sorry.
happening here?
Sorry.
Can you rephrase the question again?
I am in the wrong task.
Again, I'll show you the result, but I will not show you the query.
Excuse me?
Okay, so
Record.
Understand that
Black screen.
what I would do, I would write the query outside.
screen is the best.
You can write it in there, but when you have multiple things, it's a bit more.
Okay, so should I
Just write it outside the page like that.
get that?
You can do it on VS Code. If you don't have VS Code, then you do like double click on that one. And then, because we want to see stuff,
The name from the visitor, the name from
and
the
we can
user,
also
all
see
of
the
that in
structure
one
of the
scheme.
table. Right? So it should kind of,
Okay,
you need to improvise.
okay, yes.
And there you write there. So you can scroll
I am
above and
also
see like, okay,
feeling
I have that and that and
mentally
that.
tired.
Can draw.
I'm just
You start with the tasks, because in the scroll in the tasks, you see where you get the information what information you have. So you have the item, you have the status ID, and the user ID, which
If
means
I try to crop this one, it means that I can.
after you join them.
We should, I mean, logically we can do anything, we can do anything.
Oh!
So like the first thing I would do is just select the title
sound okay.
from the task. You see that one works. Okay. Then what do we do?
Question, can you see here? You can see the page. I have tried down, right? I don't have it. That's the very question. Because I can select anything,
Status
just
name.
blank. Maybe, oh yeah.
A status name, but
Yeah.
I have the status.
Thank you.
I think I got it, but I don't know if I got it
Yeah.
right.
So I should say that in the status dot from the task where a status dot name.
Okay, you have the result.
The original time.
This is the result you
I
want.
use the wrong place for
Can we
it.
choose?
You can try
Shouldn't be in there, written in there.
But you better be careful how you write the query, otherwise you'll just get confused.
No. If it means you end your query, and we don't want to end it. No problem. Now we join.
Yeah, yes, question.
You need to select.
Join that.
Title
Yeah.
for each task.
So now you join the status table. Yep.
Yeah, title for the task.
Inner join.
Name.
And the name of the user and
For now you can do it. Okay.
This is, how do I know that
Usually,
this is right?
when you try to figure out what connection,
That donut,
you try to figure out what data you want.
that's what I'm thinking, because how do I know that Donald is right in the book and not standing down? Because I need to join, right? Oh, good.
yes, you need to join the table properly.
Okay.
Like,
So in
right now,
join
you're
is
doing like, for each
So I
title,
think
you're getting
doing
all the
things that's in
names
here.
and all the
It's just when I've been join you're a bit more specific, like people know.
Oh, so.
But it's a synonym.
Ah.
So now we're doing an inner join.
Can anybody post the question in
When I
Slack,
say
please?
join is join left, right?
No, just choose another.
No, I don't know the question. I want.
That is
So
separate.
you need
To get everything
the
running on
title, the status name, and the username.
Status name. And user.
Username. Yeah. You join what with what? You join task. With what? We're talking about tables.
Yeah. When we are talking about tables, I want to join the task with the status.
Yes. How do we join them? What's the relation between the two?
Status and
Because they have a relationship.
Yes. And task.
okay.
So it should be task unstatus.
What's similar in between the two?
Yeah.
Look at what columns you have in those tables.
No.
Exactly.
From status.
So you need to match on.
Because like basically this ID belongs or like it matches one of these IDs.
Right. Okay, so now on or join the name. We join tables.
Join task.
Maybe post
Why?
what the task is because I've managed to get everything done. I mean,
What are we
working,
doing?
and I don't know what to do really.
We are
Like,
joining
what
task.
are we doing?
I want to see for
We're
each
talking about
task.
tables, we're
I want to
doing
see the title. The
Joining
name. I
already,
want
we
to
have
see the
tasks
title
already.
of each task.
So we're
Title
joining
of each task.
Then the name of the
Or you
user
can,
who's
but
doing
not
that
How can I
task.
put it down? Title
So
of
it's
task,
join
task,
status.
and then
Yeah.
And then the name of the
So
status.
we already have tasks.
Name
We get
of
data from tasks.
the
And we want
status. That's what we're
like
supposed
we
to do.
join
These two
with
things.
something.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Sounds easy, but it's
Status.
Yeah, I mean,
you basically like you need to join all the four tables.
Okay.
no, I just need to know where I begin, even, you know.
Now we need
Maybe I should
Oh.
start with
Yeah,
status.
no, what would they have in common?
and it's ID.
Which ID?
Status ID.
Yeah. You can also
yeah,
close
that's
the
what I was going to
pop-ups
say.
so
Try to
you
download the
can keep
server
going.
first. It's a different setup. That's all. Maybe that one is corrupted. So I don't know.
Yeah. Like this.
Yeah, what
And then
does that status ID
Yes.
has to have?
You need help.
Do you remember the syntax on how to join this? Okay, so they should be equal, right?
Yeah. So where status ID
Equal.
is equal to ID.
Yeah.
No,
No,
wait a
no,
second,
wait.
because it's
I didn't hear you saying where. So it's status ID equals ID, right?
We don't need where.
And now we have a problem with this. Like it's almost correct, but not completely. Which ID? We
So,
have ID here. We
I'm
have ID
seeing
here.
like solutions that are very far from what I need. So everyone takes a break, and when you're back, we'll go step by step.
Finish that.
Let's be back in let's say 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So you don't
If you have questions or problems, feel free to say.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you say ID in this,
Yeah, you're on the right track.
how does this skill know which one to take?
it's a status ID.
So we need to tell it get the ID from that. And it's good practice to actually type task status ID.
Okay. Now we are very specific that we say that which table we specific.
When we join, when we usually introduce joins and all pairs, it's good to even say here task
That's title because the title comes from task.
because let's say yeah, and now comma. Let's say you put just name because there are not two names. You will know that it's this one. But when you read the table, where does this name come from? That table, you get confused. Like you don't know. So that's why it's good practice. You know, you say like table, whatever. So now we can put
coming last, please don't forget.
So now we can put like comma and get this. So we have access. And this, so we did the join like we merged it, right? And now we can access the name,
Okay,
right?
and you mean comma here.
No,
Can I show you?
This is like what we select.
so now we select the
This is also the one that
So
we
I have
like this,
Yeah.
and you get this name.
Yeah.
Name.
nothing.
Let me ask you something. Is ID?
Okay.
No.
No. This stuff. No. Wait. Maybe it's correct. I'm
No,
just
no,
trying to challenge you.
Why I do that? Because
We don't have name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do we have the name?
Yes.
You have name in the
If we there are nothing the column in this clause,
Yes.
so I figure out
Does that make
its
sense?
Yeah, but
its have
it can do
task.
both. You know,
ID
different
task.
table in
Tell me how many tables you have
Yeah.
for this.
How many tables? You have,
Because that's why we joined them, so we can do this, you know, like,
Yeah, but
so we have access from.
And what's that you
First of all, it's select and then
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we have user task.
So now we can run this query if you copy,
But
if
now
you
you know
copy
why
it.
the,
exactly.
the IDs from the
Yeah,
user
I-
and the task. There's no
That
connection.
if you imagine
And you go in the training.
that is how the structure of the so you can know how to type it.
Yeah, I'm kind of actually very similar to the world.
And now you
Unless
paste
you
it.
like not looking at the schema. Because if you look at the diagram that's on data, it will make your life easier.
Yeah, because
That's fine, take a
yeah, so
break.
now you need
Take a
to
break. I'm going to start a bit
like
step by
a-
step
yeah.
afterwards.
so you need to no, because you already have it. No, so you do Control C. Because now you have. Yeah, try the one.
It's not your problem.
Okay, now you paste it
Because
again.
that sometimes I like to draw something.
Yeah.
And
So you can
now, yeah. So now we have the
Yeah, I
topic
guess.
and we have the name of the status.
Uh-huh.
Because like so we are like halfway through. Now we need another table. But let's take a break.
Okay, thank you.
Hi.
Or I can,
But
you
you
can go
did the
take a
first
break
two
and I can try to fix that. Well, I need some
Yeah,
water.
yeah.
I'll
You
take
did
a
the
break.
same batch.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so how is it?
Also really yeah, like there's so many people.
Okay, that's fine.
How about you?
Still looking?
Oh no. Okay. You want staying in the room?
after this class,
Yeah. I'll do that.
Actually, I'm a mentor. I'm finding online. No, actually, I didn't do course here. I have the knowledge and experience.
Ah,
So I just for connection purpose. Yeah.
You remember enough? You earlier I was sleeping I think.
Yeah, because when I saw you, even I also thought you were familiar with it. We were busy and couldn't catch you.
the problem sometimes when it stands with teacher says sometimes the problem is not talking about the science or the idea. Sometimes the problem is the language. So sometimes I don't catch it what she did, what she said. So I should think about the language and what she did in the same time. So yeah.
Because if it's not your own language, it
Yeah,
takes
exactly.
extra.
Yeah, but exactly. But I think you are better than me because in your house, so
This one's better.
all the time you speak with your wife.
It's another installment?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah.
The most you can't.
The one that it's the MSI, is the shop installing. So this one
Your wife, she
it's like
Yes,
working out.
actually,
okay.
yes, I have, but
Yeah.
we are kind of big at home. But
Yeah, exactly. But when we talk all the time in Arabic language and Arabic language, so
Take a break.
yeah,
but it's sweet shit. It's
yeah, exactly. I thought.
Thank you for the help, Richard.
Thank you for helping me.
Don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget the password.
Okay.
So we
Because
were
if you
able.
do, it's a mess.
Yeah, it's hard to reset.
Okay.
Next. Yeah.
So that's the server.
So the only solution you find that it was to find another installer.
Yeah, we downloaded a new one, and this one is specifically for that version from it's the MSI installer. But it only contains one version, unlike the one that we showed you.
Okay.
It has is it okay for shipping?
I also don't know what people want. I suppose it's version. Anyway, better than nothing.
Like the stuff we work with, because I know that.
My wife and I would like to think.
Oh, that's no problem. I'm really happy when I hear things about you at the moment.
I signed it last night.
Yeah, you are going out to do that. How did you
Tomorrow.
like it on Friday?
I was there on Friday and we did onboarding. Yeah. The onboarding, the team, you're mostly scientists.
Mom, I don't need to take a break. You can take.
Yeah,
Trust me. Take a break.
Finally.
Oh, I love this chocolate.
My wife is so happy.
Yeah, drink it all.
Don't
Take it
forget
all.
to say thank you to Martin.
Of course. I'm happy that you seem you're enjoying it.
I'm learning a lot from George.
Yeah, he's also super happy with you. The other day I was like, we're talking about the tests or something, and he was, yeah, Richard also didn't know, but now he's almost. The other day I'm like 99% coverage, and he went and changed the lines to have 100%. I'm like, wow.
It was very informative.
So, yeah, you're doing very well. Yeah, that's the thing with a lot of people. So I think we just need to change it, and we will be like the best employees ever.
You just need opportunity.
Yeah, but getting that first step sometimes is super tricky.
Moment. Don't do this. Close the. No, I can. You can see that here. Trying to do. Go to your. No, go to your GitHub. GitHub? Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, GitHub. The one link that. Yeah. Yeah. Go to the current lesson 2. Go to class12. Oh, yeah. Go to the diagram. png.png. Yeah. This is diagram that you're trying to do.
Okay, this is the same.
Joining all this.
Yeah, the same.
So now we can know how we have.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. But it seems that, okay, it's the same now.
Hold on.
Not that, yeah, exactly.
I don't know how to use it. But like I've seen that you have the shell.
I don't see it before.
So if you're comfortable with it, you can use the terminal mesh. Like
Master
Masume is also using it.
So if I want to see what it has to see.
Yeah.
So I think it is a.
But now that make sure that the shell is used. I'll do look for. I really like straw stuff, so.
Just
Clears my mind.
Sorry, how do you look for stuff? Like I say, it's probably called SQL or shell or something.
Everybody has
Try shell, maybe.
Maybe you can look at the attribute program so you can see is that there or not.
Thank you.
Maybe attribute.
Because, yeah, the installation works fine. So now I would expect to see like a program called MySQL shell or something. But also I'm like 100% sure that
So maybe you can find out here.
yeah. Can you do well?
Of course, that's right.
Should be nice. Yeah, so So, like now the thing is audio. But first I think I'll do. So I think I'll try to download the website. And you'll probably be flooding this download the watch file. I guess you should have to shoot them. Because I think the right thing. Of course, I'll be free to do that. Why do I love this new shirt?
I know I left it somewhere, but
I don't drink coffee, so it's not mine.
Next time, if I can have everything online. Oh, what? Okay. Nice. Where's this guy? What, you did it stuff on? No. What Richard was doing was to download this, because basically it's the server, but we have a recommend and everything. And then the workbench is just something that you use to like you could just be using your own one in the shell parts like classes. But then if we can install workbench, yeah, it's really nicer too.
Otherwise, you're gonna be a hacker on the terminal.
Yeah. Actually, if everyone was using Unix, that's the way I do it. But with Windows, I'm always like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
What about bots? Sounds like building.
Like if you SSH in a MySQL database, it's just gonna type the command
Yeah, that would be another option, yeah.
instead of even though I can still
I just asked Daniel last night if they need MySQL for the bootleg installed on their computers. Because if they don't, next time I teach this, I think it's a good thing.
No, plus to not having more clients. You need to think about recommending clients for Git, like source tree.
You mean for them to use?
Yeah.
Like we actually like when this PR, the submission of homework through pull requests, when we started doing that, we were actually thinking using graphical interfaces or not. And we went with sticking to the command line, mostly because when they run into trouble and you're helping them through Slack, it's easier to know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. It's just like at the same time I think it's they would get the concepts easier for the UI.
That's all. Yeah, that's
and like
reason.
further in the career you're gonna learn the commands like git
weeks I will, but for the sake of them, like being able to help them through Slack when there's just like, okay, someone
Did you see my
I lost my
message?
files.
Did you see the message? My message?
Yeah. You just
And
like having those
yeah,
issues.
do git status, run this, then do git status again, and I couldn't
So
see
is it
exactly
working now?
where the well, if we teach them to use, for instance, the GitHub desktop app, whatever, it's way more tricky.
It is tricky. I mean, it has
For that,
pros and cons.
exactly,
both
and
ways.
it's probably easier in the sense that for them to see things and everything, it's probably easier.
I remember when I started using it many years back.
I think
Like,
for them now it's a bit better because I actually get the class about that. But yeah, when I learned it, I was also like a bit by
And also, like,
myself. Like
exactly. You
are
have no
just
one
thrown
telling
into
you
that,
like you can't do that.
and it was hell as well. And I think it's still always
Still, like sometimes I use a mix. You know, like you can get like from a file you can get like what they call hunks or like pieces of changes in the file. You know, like interactive.
yeah,
Or, like,
this is all studio code for instance.
like even
And
like,
you only commit to the parts that you want. Yeah,
yeah,
that's super
exactly.
cool.
It's like you can do that in 7, fine.
Yeah, but it's tricky.
If you have like a huge file with a lot of changes, have fun.
No, I mean, like, I prefer that they use the command line here because it's easier to help them when they need to show. Yeah, in general, use a graphical interface, whatever works best for them. I'm also still in the dark ages of command line, just because it's very rare that I need to commit only part of it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes if I actually need to see the graph, I just open some graphical interface.
But they also have to say Git, right? And that's Git lesson.
Yeah, there's a Git lesson right after the HTML and CSS, so the first week, where they actually what Git is and what to push and all this stuff. The tricky part was they didn't learn like about branches, because the old branches brings a bit of, yeah, you need to do it and push. So we stick to master and that master.
Yeah.
And then like a few weeks later, that's a pull request.
2 homeworks at the same time. How do I update the file?
Yeah, that's a tricky part. But then they have this, because they have like a folder template already. I don't know if you've seen their repositories, but it's like, yeah, repository try a framework and then they have like 2 different modules, and it's like different modules, each week. Databases be like databases and then you will look to if the homework for the second week builds on that. What they apparently do is they copy the files from week 1.
In that case, when you have different folders, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, the stuff that we were thinking like yeah, just create the better than that. You don't need to do that. So maybe always create branches from master and that and not that masters include. That's the thing, like if the last homework wasn't merged with master homework, then they still need to either create a branch from that homework or merge that branch with master and then create it from there. So it's like,
it will come. I guess the final project, and that's for what, 7 weeks?
that's
It's quite a long time to figure out these things.
yeah.
Is that it?
I think so.
Okay.
Did you start the thing or did you do it?
I said for
Workbench. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, now you don't have the databases. The database, you don't like the actual data. You don't need it. And what? What's embarrassment? What is possible?
You work on Mac now?
Linux.
Linux, okay. Well, have you
Yeah.
worked on Windows before?
Not much.
Not much, okay. 'Cause
I
used
just
to
run
co-
away from Windows.
Oh,
as much as I
yes.
could.
So now I must do.
Yeah, so
I download
Windows,
that on
yeah, but she doesn't have this.
Oh.
that
Yeah.
Windows, it's
So
like
you need to
plug
go
and
to
play.
the
GitHub
page.
Just
I downloaded
click,
the file.
run, plug and play.
If it works.
Yeah.
If you don't get an error, like
Yeah.
not
Uh,
responding.
Blue screen.
screen.
Yeah.
Oh, but you downloaded master.
Love of my
Go
childhood.
to lesson.
Yeah, so this is the bad thing.
Go to lesson.
I don't know why Microsoft doesn't
Just
find the problem,
With
find
the
the solution for this problem. Black screen, so
Open the
blue
Can
screen.
you do that?
But to be honest, like I don't know, like I never until recent years
I just
I never
want to copy
bought
them.
like a original Windows. Like who buys that kind of thing? Like everything was
Yeah,
bought.
but this message error, so never
So
mind.
just
You
copy
have
everything?
So yeah, but I guess it's less common.
Yeah,
in
exactly. Yeah. But,
So
but
like
it's happening
everything
to
is-
have original.
Yeah.
Yeah, have time. But with Linux or Mac, you will
Yeah.
never get.
And
I would never go back to Windows.
Also my.
That's a no go.
Sometimes I use it, yeah.
It just gets removed.
Because sometimes you can't find a free program, easy program to download. For example, I use designing programs, so you can't find
Torrents.
And now I'm
with the Linux. It's a difficult.
Oh yeah.
You can find, but it's not easy to learn the game. So. And if you have a Mac, for example, you should pay for it.
I think-
You should pay a lot of money to
So I'm
to
just
buy
picking
some
the
programs.
database.
I guess the
With
like,
Windows, you
And
can
then I'm
find a lot
saying that
of
I'm
programs.
gonna
It's
use
hacking.
I guess if
But they are
the
just,
assumption is
like
like if you can afford buying a Mac,
No,
you probably
it's,
afford buying
it's not
like
comments, it's really like
Yeah.
things that
Software
happen
as well.
So it's gonna create a database for you. It's gonna select it, and
Now,
then it creates all
now
the tables.
I have
and
read
some-
a lot of some methods.
This
There
one
are no
executes like
now
everything and only what's selected.
Lenovo also they have a project also another company they have a project a device with Linux Mint. It's a device.
so it's like a working station kind of.
workstation, but also it's work with the user station.
Okay.
It costs about $2,000.
Ooh.
A lot of money.
So I must do
Cheap.
write
Cheap.
these two comments, these two statements to create this database.
Yeah.
Database.
Because all this code is virtualized, it's just like implementation. You need to create the tables inside of this. And then this is inside of it.
عشان تعمل
I'm probably doing this.
Now it makes all the
كله
I haven't like gone into this yet. I'll probably do that. This first.
You have do something to click on that
Yeah,
one?
if you.
You always have to do that.
لا لا
Somewhere.
And when you're running stuff. Ah, whoa.
It's always like that.
So I'm gonna select everything. And to run just this part, I can do control enter, which is equivalent to this one. Nice. And then if you, I'm going to give you a head start. Like if you want to see both the task and the status of the task, like as done in progress, okay, you need to join the list. And when you join the tables, you need to say how you want to join. And then you have a single foreign key that you just like, for instance, in the task table, you have the status ID. This is a foreign key. Okay, the status table. So it's related to the ID, the status table. So that's what you use to join the tables. So you do this one task. Status on and then you see And if you forget this part, what you'll get for each task, all the possible states. Because they're not saying exactly all the data.
Or here I can type just 2 or 3, then it shows just one.
It'll probably work in that video error, but you shouldn't. If you want to say like, if you only want the status ID where it's 2, you should use the where. That's like a filter, like an if condition in JavaScript.
Would you like to bring it carefully?
Yeah, you do.
No, it's okay.
And then it's only giving you
Now I can review the
We have space here in the corner.
Yeah, maybe it
We
makes
can
sense.
manage.
But yeah, it's part of learning. There was a trick part is figuring out which column corresponds to the column. So that's important. And people were making those other mistakes, so it's best to do one step.
Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I said.
Oh,
It
you
was
have?
French, Spanish, Polish, no Spanish.
Oh, indeed.
So we get so confused.
Thank you.
That's okay. You haven't given me one. So, yeah.
That's it.
If I need your password. Well, I don't need it, it just makes you sorry. Okay. Let's do something.
Oh, wait.
Yay!
Okay, so I basically threw you into the wild without saying anything.
Thank you, darling.
And I almost regretted it, but honestly now I don't. Because what you should do when you get a new database is to look at the database itself, explore it for a bit, see what's there, and now you get what's wrong. So on the GitHub repository, there's a diagram of the database.
Yeah.
That's like the first thing you should go to. And see which tables are there, what are the fields. And then like if I'm asking you for the task title, the name of the status, and the name of the user, you should go and see in which tables you get each one of those things. And then try to figure out how you put everything together.
That's what I do on paper.
Good, yeah, do it on paper, do it on wherever it works for you. But first explore the database. Let's go a step back though. And I expect you to be able to do this because it was also in the homework. Instead of getting me the title of the task and the name of the user and the name of the status, just the title of the task and the name of the status for that task. And I'll give you maximum 10 minutes for that, and then we'll go back to the complicated
So
stuff.
now we should show the title and the name of status.
Yes, forget the user.
Okay.
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 So we get
Int, you need to join tables.
so we
You did it, okay.
you need to get the title of each task and then name of each task.
Name of what?
Name of status.
Name of status. States or status?
No,
States.
it's pronunciation. Status
Okay.
status.
Status. Okay, good.
Okay, so
No
this one
status.
for status, I consider that. In this practice it's required.
Okay.
Can you go to the
Go
example
back to-
page and see the icon?
Okay. So now we already have that. The status name. Now we need to get the username. Oops. Same thing.
My brain's not connected.
Yeah. So we can think that way.
I have one side and none of them.
Just the title and the status name.
Yeah, but it's like, you know when you can sing? I don't know, I have some days like that.
Or you can
Well,
do
you can actually use it
if you hover on this, you can collapse.
Like you need to.
So just little arrow. So you have
First you need to make a
users
local
and
connection,
so you can
right?
scroll up and
So
up,
first
and
you need to
then
get
you have
task,
everything.
and then you get
So we can
task.
scroll so you can see
Select
everything here.
title from table task. So you will be selecting
Just
this
it's important to use
from
idea.
this.
So
Right?
you know what I'm saying? So
And then we want the name of
you
the
select
status.
this and also the user table.
What is the what is the name of the status? What does it mean? I don't get
So
it.
we can see this.
Name is the
What's the description? The what? You have a name?
Just a second. So it's pretty much what we did in the other case. It's exactly the same thing.
What is that?
We're gonna do that later. Later after we join, because right
Yeah.
now we don't have
Yeah,
access.
but what is the name of this? Where is the name? That's what I see now. So we're in a table called task. There you go. That's the one, and that's what it's got inside. So I'm asking, what is the name?
That's the thing.
Ah, okay, sorry, because it's the table
Are you
status.
familiar with this tool?
So let's just check it.
So you need to put codes, like watch
Here,
codes.
you have name not started, in progress, and done. These are the possible names that you might have.
Yeah, because otherwise it's looking at it
Yeah,
as a very
so we want to just select the happening.
because you already have a wall, and when you put the other comment,
Ah, okay.
when you put that
Okay,
one, you
I get
can
it. Now I get it.
So like when you put this, it means this statement
Okay.
ends, I'm starting a new one, and we are starting a new one with where, which is an arrow.
Okay, can
So
I
you need
ask
to
something
remove
about the logic?
just where.
So basically, these are our statuses, okay, sorry, our tasks, and the status is here. So basically, I want to join the status ID with the status. Here, when I go to the status, I want to connect the connection from this status ID from the task table, right? To this, I will show and connect these two, right?
So if you want all three tasks, it means you remove the where. So you don't check for a specific type. Yeah, you remove it completely.
No.
That's it. So you select and you select type in there instead of everything.
Your connection is primary to user.
And if you run this one,
Exactly, yeah.
So that's the connection we don't do.
you get all
Exactly. Just as we did
almost.
it's basically same. Yeah, somehow. Yeah.
And I can see you already didn't join. So now we need to get the status name.
What I want to select, basically I want to see this and then connect this to this in order to make it
No,
so
no.
this is the logic I was
Don't
and now I know what to do.
So we do the same
Because
way.
you know when we're working with tasks and really hear the tasks. Okay, now I get it. Thank you.
Good luck.
No, we have that.
From
The username.
from shoe. Yes. From status or name from shoe.
Yeah.
But it's not from hash.
No, it doesn't.
Sorry, I want to speak Polish. From first
So you said it correctly, but before you do that, you need to do something.
Yeah, from table name.
Join the
Just
system.
So we want to select.
So you can do multiple joins. You can do like 50 joins if you want.
Row.
I said to go one step back.
Yeah.
What?
So first thing, I'll just wait
From name, from name status. like name from
something.
title from show. يعني from.
Because we have to that's why I'm leaving from exactly these two tables. So basically I need to use the names of the tables.
The way you look at it, we have the tables, right? Then we have one table which is staples.
These are the tables I'm
We
trying.
have another table which is right. In the staples we have ID and name. So we need to show one of these. In the task we have ID, title,
Okay, so it doesn't have to be name of.
but we don't have the.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm joining two tables. Like particular colors, I need to comment.
We have the name in the other table. Right? So if you click on this one, status, yeah, if you click on this is the other table. So we do the join, so we can access this one.
Name of the state.
That's why we do the join. So if you go back to your file,
See?
was it down? No, yeah, the top.
Inner join status, just as I did with the first one. And
It's not
now I'm
like
specifying on what
You
is
table,
you tell it, I want to access the
name of the
data in the
status.
status
okay.
column.
So I just
You're
want to
giving
say
me the
that.
name of
I
the
know,
On
I
the
know
form,
what
you do that
from.
in the
name
status.
of the user and name of the
And if you run it,
What is
Yeah, like I need to step back, and I just wanted the name.
you guys
output
output
Just so I
And the
want
name of the status,
Yes.
which
And now
will be
you see
easier for you guys.
name.
So that
See?
it's not
Name, and if you scroll,
ये वाला
Yeah.
टाइटल और नेम आ गया
So you see
मेरा लास्ट वाला फर्स्ट वाला और लास्ट वाला
done. That's
Title and name.
that's
हाँ
status.
अभी बीच वाला
Before you had ID.
क्या है ये मतलब क्या बोला गया था ये वाला मुझे समझ नहीं आया
मुझे एक्सरसाइज नहीं पता
I'm
just helping her to put join. Exercise क्या है?
Yeah.
Like you're
यही
doing
एक्सरसाइज थी
access
कि
the
ये
name
आउटपुट
and the other.
टाइटल
you're doing from
Yeah.
टास्क का टाइटल और स्टेटस का
sorry,
नेम
status
And
join
ये
task.
username है.
Yes.
ये यूजर नेम है
Great.
हाँ
But
Huh.
you need to
So
say
put
you
user.
want to join those tables. Because if you look carefully, what
I
you'll
think
see there is
that's
each
what it
task
Yeah.
title and then all the status for each.
Yeah, I'll
So
put the
each
title.
task
It's
shows like
And
3
now I
lines
have to join this.
with each status.
The
Oh,
name
this.
of the status.
Like you need to say how to join them. What's like what
That's
is there in the
Also, that's why I did the washing machine more difficult.
sorry, the task
So I
table.
have it, but I have to display more just to see which is which. Title, exactly, name, status.
No. Do you have a pen?
Status, join, status name, right?
It's the same.
Is that what it was?
So guys, who hasn't finished this one, this query, the titles and the status?
That's what I need to do. The logic. I need to understand what I'm doing. And that's like,
You haven't finished?
exactly. But then I do another
So
query.
who has not finished the query?
But which one?
The status and the title.
Just.
Everyone?
It would be good to review it just to see
Okay.
that we did it right.
So this was the query in the homework. So I'd expect everyone to be able to do it. And let me create a new SQL file. So going to the diagram, which is always super useful. So if I want to see the status for each table, I have the name for the status in a status table and the title of the tasks in the task table. So I need to access the name from the status table, which basically means somehow I need to join these tables. And now the question is, how do I join them? That's the important part. Like I basically need to find this so-called foreign key that points to the status table. And in our case, that's status ID. The status ID here is corresponds to the ID in the status table. So that's what I need to use to join my tables. When the status ID in the task table is the same as the ID in the status table, then yep, those entries are connected. So like in my fantastic Excel sheet, I'm going to put this a bit down. It would be like I would have here the user ID 1, 2, and I would go and check like 1, who's 1. In this case it's with the status, but here I'm still showing users. Like, where's the 1 in the user table, in the ID? So Priyanka is the one who's washing clothes. If it was a status, let's say then it would be the status. But it's always the same thing. You just look at the so-called foreign key that points to another table, and you go to that table that it points to and see what the ID is. Did that make sense? So I may do the status table as well. Status 1, 2, 3. Not done, in progress, done. And there's also that status ID here. And let's say it's 3, 2. So if I want to see what the status of wash clothes here is, and I want to see it like as a name, not just as a number, I go to the status ID column, I figure out that the number there is 3, I go to the status table, ID column, sorry I forgot that part there, and I see what the 3 is, and it's done. Did this make more sense? So, you know, difficulty level is increasing. And there was this part where you had one user, many tasks, and one task, many users. And before I've asked you like, yeah, just, well, the question is exactly the same, but the answer is not. I want to see the title of a task and the name of the user that's responsible for that. And if I look at my diagram, like before it was basically like the status. There was a user ID here, and I would just go and match it with the ID in the user table. Now I have no user ID here, but I still need to match this up somehow. And there's this table in the middle that has a user ID and a task ID that refer the task ID to here and the user ID to the user table. So I need to use this table as well to go and join those tables. Does this make sense?
Yes, in my yes, in
Yeah? Okay. I'll be there. Yes.
I have a question. Because when I see the user task, I have some that are repeated.
What's repeated? The user?
The task, the user ID, I don't know if yeah, it's repeated. And it's like cross, because I got the task ID and I thought the task ID was going to be unique.
Not alone.
So don't forget that these user ID and task ID, they're not primary keys. They can be repeated as many times as you want. Like, and they will, because if one user is responsible for more than one task, and going back to the Excel stuff.
Where the task ID is coming then? I thought it was here. The task ID.
Yeah.
Is this the primary key? Is it?
In that table.
Task ID. So task ID and user ID in the user task ID, they're not primary keys. The primary key is the ID here.
In that one.
Yes, in that one.
But it's not bringing the information from task ID.
That is the task ID, like the task ID column is connected to the ID in the task column. The user ID is connected to the ID in the user table.
So it's not different.
I have another question.
Yes.
Can we go to that table part, that diagram.
Yes.
Screen. Yes. So for first query, I compared task. I compared task dot status underscore id and status dot id. Means status id and task status id.
Yes.
So I got results. But if I want to print or get names, so I have to compare this and then that result with that one.
If you want the username, yes.
Yes. So I mean that I know to join, but how can I get the result and then join it to that?
You're worried about the syntax.
Yes.
That's a very good question. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna do is to give me the title for the task and the name for the user. And for this, I'm already going to tell you that you need to join 3 tables, so you need to do like join twice, pretty much. And I'm just going to show you a dummy syntax, so that I don't give it the result right away. But also so that you don't get stuck just on the syntax. So it would be select, title, name 1, from table 1, join table 2 on whatever equals whatever, and then I'll say again join table 3 on whatever equals whatever.
So by that I will whatever the result from line number 6, I will get that and then join. And
yes,
then, okay.
yes.
Because it's in the same statement,
Yeah.
right?
It's
So
in the same statement. And like I'm writing it this way so that it's more readable. Of course you can
Yes.
write everything in the same line, but then
Yeah.
So again, what do you want?
what I want
Yeah, but
the title of the task and the name of the user. That's who's doing that task. And because like when users collaborate on the same task, you'll probably see like the same title repeated like twice or more, and then there's each user, and also the other way around, just so that you don't get confused by seeing repeated things. Yes. You did it already? Oh, great. Yep, and I'll again give you 10 minutes, and if you run into trouble, you ask us.
So what I want to write down is basically the syntax on that. So you can join multiple tables. Yeah. So this is what I want to show. Okay, okay, let's delete this one first so we have all the syntax. We don't need it. Okay, let's wait from the beginning for this. So we select the title from the task table, title column, and then the name column from the status. Okay.
Just to start off, that's like
And then we say the first table is task, and then we join it with the status table. So we did that, right? Now we need to join. So we have the user table. So we need this user. How do we get the user? We need to merge some items. If you scroll a bit more, is it here? This one? No. Let's go up. This is group 1. This is the right one. Let's go this one. Okay, we needed this table as well. Well, we can collapse these tables because we work with it. We don't need it anymore. So we have
no, this is what I'm not understanding.
user with XID.
But now what you're doing is something else. You're like saying that the ID user table must be the same as the ID in the task. So this should be used. That's what you're doing. And in this case, is used and used. Maybe write it very on some other text editor because it's a long word and it's very easy to make mistakes. And then it's just or you can save it as an SQL file and then it's
Yeah, okay, that's it. Okay, and now we have this user task, This is like an user script, so like in the beginning I'll always recommend the web because usually it's gonna help you. If you look at like a bunch of stuff in there, so you
It's
have,
a joint one.
well, they all join in the end, but yeah, it's,
But right now, you want to join this one.
yeah. And we already did that actually. No, it's actually doing so we did this first, yeah.
and the name of the
Both of you did it. So they saw you showed the stakes for here. Like if you go on the you see not started in progress done. So which is like this guy. Okay. So let's see. What do we have user ID?
you're wearing on the right track. Just mix your right
So
You just use an ID when you want to join.
yeah, exactly. Because like these IDs, they're primary keys. Usually they're not like this. Which means they're unique in this table. ID is unique in this table, unique in this table, unique in this table. This guy depends on how it's structured by amount, I don't know, but I guess this one is the primary key in this table. But in other cases, like in real world example, it could be this. It could be, but not necessarily. In this case, it's ID. So what we want to do, the first thing is
Somehow managed to do that. I basically joined all the tables, but made sure what is connected
so
to what
we can select from this one.
Because
And
basically
we
I
can
tried
get
to
the
select
that's
the relevant
like
things,
these.
I named them, so that is the
Then
username, that is
we
the
want to
status, and name.
like these.
Okay.
We need
And
to
that is
join
the
this
title.
table. So we need to access
So
the
it kind of
name
shows
of
everything.
the status, right?
Join. I just joined
So we join them
It's like the most
on
okay. And then
ID from this table, right?
Okay, inner join.
Yeah, so the status ID from the top.
User.
Because we need to identify which status is in this one, right?
Inner join on table.
Okay, wait. Because
Status,
but
the
where
ID.
should that be? Should that
So
be
this is the join
before?
where it
Because that's
happens.
my
So basically
old
when
home.
you, if you write just
Inner
So I should
join
on
table
like
name
this,
on condition and
we
then
can
again
actually do
join.
it. How to
Okay,
do it.
exactly.
We can
That's
actually do
so.
it.
Fulfill that.
So
Yeah.
if we do
So then inner join again.
Inner join on
select
condition.
all,
If
you put a star,
But this condition again, the same one.
so basically
No,
what we
because
have,
that's
we have
I just want
ID
to
from
query,
the
you know, that's just
task,
neglect
we have
that.
ID, description from the task,
Space.
created update
This is your
view,
new query, right?
status
Yes.
ID, these all are from the task
Because that's what I
table.
basically want to
And we
display,
have ID
right?
and
So-
name from the status. So we basically,
Your cursor, yeah.
when we join, we put them together.
Like the
Right.
yeah.
So like,
Then again
Inner
this is-
join.
this is the join
But
functionality.
there's something too
So
much.
it just
Inner join,
catches
user join,
these
user
tables
task. No, that's too
Inner
much.
based
join
on where status ID equals
Because it should
ID.
be
Because we
inner
can see here,
join,
like this is
user.
equal to this. This is the condition. Like they will always be equal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like
On.
that's the condition that needs to happen so we can join.
On.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want it on in a new line. Okay, because then yeah, that's on user task. And user task is in.
That not task
I
ID,
just
it's
need,
task
I just need to
task
check,
ID.
keep checking these things. That's
So you
that
mentioned
really helps
that-
me. And user task.
मेरे को एक क्वेश्चन पूछना है ये वाला जो था
So we
6
have
लाइन
some
में
rows.
हमने क्या है फ्रॉम टेबल 1 ज्वाइन टेबल 2 ऑन टेबल का नेम एंड टेबल का कॉलम है ना
Yeah.
प्राइमरी की फॉरेन की रिलेशन
बट जब हम सेकंड में आए तो मुझे चाहिए इसका रिजल्ट तो मैं उसको कैसे डिनोट करूँगी.
Whatever,
in the
whatever
end,
join.
yeah, maybe
Now
it
you are
could
putting
happen.
join with table
Because
3.
what you would
So you
try
have
to
to table
So
3,
like-
whatever primary key and foreign key relation is with table 1 or table 2.
in your
Second
record,
is
as you said,
whoever
so
How
it's
can
like-
how can I say
we'll just write
that
down
it
so that
will
you actually
to do it like if I want to take
on table
title.
3 on table 3 dot column name.
this is
No, actually what I result got from here is title and status name.
then
I want that title to compare with table 3's some data. So how would I tell him or tell it that title of this compared to ID of this?
Then foreign key, which foreign key is it there? In status or
Title
if status ID we only have one
because
input,
this is what I've been
you
saying.
have to check with the foreign key.
This is this, right?
अभी यहाँ पे मैं क्या
Wait, I will come then.
because we have this condition, they should be.
It's this.
So
It's
it's
not
like,
need. It's this.
Are you winning?
Right?
so when we do
And that's
this,
but what I'm returning
yeah.
and here what I'm returning
So
is
it's
this.
like show me the task ID one
Select task
with the title something something.
from task
Then it already has status ID one because we know it's in this table. And then you say for the rest of the other table, the status ID and name doesn't one. So it's gonna be so this points to this row, this points to this points to this. So when we merge the table is gonna be 1 and 1. And we go again. So we take the next row ID 2, that's possible ID 2, and then some title, and then it says it has ID 2. We're gonna look on the other table, and we'll try to say give me the row in the status, and the ID is equal to my status ID, which in this case is 2.
Yeah.
So it's gonna give me, so say 2, and in
That's what I'm trying to do.
So
That's how I understand. Because
basically,
the point is just
we will always have one table, which is from. And in this case, it's 2, which means we get this all the time. So again, all the task ID,
I got this result from
and then
these
so
two
you
when we
can
lines
say
see
of the
all
upper
these
row.
things. That's why I
with
start to
something
make
else,
Any
then
videos.
say
Task title, status one, and username. That's what you want to see in one.
User task is the table name on
so when we say join with something else based on a condition, you will check if this is
and this is
then
from
give
this
me
table.
the row from the other table. So you
Name
can
them,
and
name
to
them,
answer your
because it's
question
always
with
easier.
like
So
how
you see
many,
what I'm got
you see
here.
that you will
Exactly. So I started like this.
Okay, everyone, I'm seeing the same mistake very often.
Here, this one.
And the mistake is this, something like this. Select task.title, user.name, from user join task on task.id equals user.id. So I've seen this query quite a few times, or something very similar, where there's a join on task.id and user.id. And what that basically means is that you're saying that you want to join this table with this table, while saying that the ID in the user should be the same as the ID in the task. And this will give you a result. Like, there's no syntax error or anything, but it will give you crap. Like, there's no connection between this and this. What there is a connection between is the ID, the user table, is the same as the user ID here. And the task ID here is the same as the task ID here. So you need to use this table.
I tried, but I get wrong way.
Okay, I'll get it. But like, do you understand this concept?
This is title,
Okay.
this title, and then you have to compare.
Yeah, exactly. This is the key table. See the user task. That's one. That's why I
So
always
does this
ask
join make sense
first
now?
what I do is select everything
Like,
from each table. Just
how
to
do
see
we
what I'm
actually
doing.
access this
And
name?
this is a very,
And then, like, right now we say start, which means give me
you
everything.
know what I mean?
But at the same time, you can
my,
say,
okay,
because
my
this is
idea,
the past,
first of all, when we have to select these three things,
we can
so
say,
first of
give
all,
me
title
task,
of each task
title, which
is
is
in the table called task, right?
and then
So it's basically,
status.
let's say this. First we
Status
select
dash.
title. I need to write it down.
Because we join these,
So this is table.
so we have access
called
to
task.
the name from the status.
It's
And
called
the title plus
task table, right?
Yeah.
Table
Still
is called
looking
task.
for
So let's say this is our table.
It's alright if you
And
don't
now,
know.
I think the
This
title
task
is
ID
basically in the title.
is that one
The thing is, like,
I am getting
when you go
from
home,
the second
take a
line.
rest, maybe tomorrow,
It's title.
So
write it down, write the
I
tables down.
want
So,
to
so you, like, you draw lines,
task
okay, so
name.
this belongs or like
Because
this,
I'm getting
and this one, because
Okay?
after a while it's easy to visualize.
Yeah,
I know, it's not like the,
Yeah,
you
because
imagine
that's
you
the
have a table,
table.
but
The
in the
table is
beginning,
called
where it is
task.
equal to
And the column is called title.
Yeah, that's
Okay?
right.
So we want to select
Unless you are
this.
using
like
like
this
the left
condition,
drawings and the right
it's
conditions.
basically,
Then second thing,
So it's actually
because we see which tables we need
Imagine
and which
that-
column we need.
so we have some data in this
So
table.
what is
So name of the status.
And we have some,
where do we have
with
the name of the
pointing to
status?
that table.
until
By
until
saving
I
these
do
data.
run this query? What
So
So
name is
we could have done
table
this, you know,
status,
giving me
say,
a
right? So it has to be status.
we could have
And
the
this is
task
the name.
table
Is it?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
with the IDs
And the third thing
with some
is
titles.
user.
And with statuses directly.
User,
Um,
and this is
user underscore name? This column user underscore name.
But then,
So,
like, if you
well, no.
No, this one is the last one. This one.
So basically, when we go to the table user, and
and
what we want, the table
we only
is
save
called
their ID.
user.
So it's like
Why
one,
table? And now we want the
and
column
then
is called
to access
name.
this data, we
So
want
that
to
you
show
I inner join
we do this join thing, and we say we know the reference, we know that
Exactly.
this
And
belongs
they are
to this,
connected, and now we need to find
this
out, we
belongs
need
to
to
this.
find out
So
how
we
they
say,
are connected.
give me that row
Okay.
that actually
Do you guys
they are
know
equal
that?
because they are the same, you know? It's a reference to this.
And this
It's a map to say,
is
ah,
our
this ID belongs to this, this
this
belongs
is
to
user
this.
task.
Once you
And this
you
shows
do the
user
join,
ID and
we have
task
all the
ID.
data like we do in there.
But like,
And in the end, you can
Jesus,
say
connecting all
task
this.
title because we don't have to show
What's the
it. We
join
don't
task?
have all the
User
task
task.
Because the
ID.
first
Then I
thing
join
was
user.
We only
Now
want
we
task
can-
title and status name.
Yeah, maybe you can.
Now we can do status that name because we joined them based on this.
I think that's too easy.
You work just
It's not as easy in the beginning, always joining, but
Yeah, but that's what I've already selected. So I want to select title.
No.
Maybe yes.
No, no, no.
Just
What
substitute
is
the
it?
task there.
so you join the status,
okay,
say,
because then-
give me, I want data from the status table. And you say, I want to join them based on the condition. What should be that condition? It means that the status reference in my table, it has to be the real one, the one that has the data
we
in the
need to
status.
see this diagram.
Yeah, it's very important.
Unknown column user dot
So
name.
without seeing this one,
Because we need to connect the file.
Yeah.
Because first we need to.
No,
Like first you need to understand what
because we still have to check some other
I don't know
tables.
how to do it. In the beginning it's also not very straightforward, but it will go.
Then status.
Okay, so user dot name.
And I give it a
User dot name is from user table, and I haven't told
user
us
name.
After we don't need that. Because it's not valid.
user.
And because
I
when
haven't mentioned any.
Just delete that.
So first you got the table,
And the comma.
then you got the column. Table.
And let's show
Okay,
you
the
something.
column. It's easier to read.
How
I mean, that's like my
it's
structure.
usually like easy
And then from which
to
table?
like to visualize because you do different actions. So what I want to show you is that
Sorry, task, status,
so this
and then we
is
have to connect
it
this.
comes like
And that's the whole concept from
I think
select
now I guess you
But I'm
something.
still going to select user name from user table.
Ah, okay.
In here, what comes next, you
From
need to tell it from where. From the name syntax is like, this
And
is
user
like
tab,
always.
where is user tab?
You select
User tab.
something,
I think that's what
something.
I'm trying to do.
And this from the page.
I run it. It's good.
One table to other, and
Table.
then another
This is
one
always
table.
nice.
You cannot
Like
just
this
run
will always
it
be additionally, you can't move. So you
Yeah,
say
things like I want to smash things together. When I put one extra comma, it's like
table one. So it's like,
Now it is user.id.
this is additional all the time. And you can do as many joins as you want. So this is,
I got the printed.
if you want.
To make it?
So the mandatory thing is like you would always fetch a table. That's otherwise you can't get the updates. If you need more dates, you will join with on and where conditions like
Okay, so
something
since a lot of people are done, and some
then you can
some
do
already
one
did what
more.
I was going to ask for now. Like, okay, so you got,
and so forth.
I hope, and if you didn't, just call
You always
me or
select.
someone
You
else.
select something,
You got the title of the task and you got
something.
the user, the name of the user.
You join.
Now we can
Table
just
name
add the status for that task as well.
on a condition.
So it's basically like combining the two things that you already did.
You need to remember this.
Kind of means adding one more
Select
join.
something.
Okay, so here's my
Join
question.
something.
Because what
If
I've
one
been
more
trying to
data,
do all the time, because
join
now
a
it's telling
table
that it can
to
be
this
two
table.
steps. First
So
you take
it's
step one,
like
and then
a
step two, and you
like
join
a
the
plus to
steps.
this table.
And
You
what
add
I've been
this
trying to
table
do,
with this
as I
one.
understood, there is
Join
a way
this.
of selecting three things and joining everything together in one
No, it's
single view.
this
So
is
that
how you
isn't
need to
possible.
think of it. It's
No.
like, okay,
I mean,
It's a
data from the other
it's
table.
not
What
like
do I
you're
do?
going to
It's
combine
like
the two
join. How do I-
queries
what's
really
the
well.
join?
It's
Join.
like say this plus this.
name from this
Like
next
the
and then
query that you have now, you just add one more join for this thing.
Because you're gonna see in the next
in my
section
mind I mean
But,
that
that
okay,
will make
well,
sense.
I can get you, but
if
my
you go to
question
the
is,
diagram,
can you do step A, B, C,
so
so
you have
title,
the
task name,
homework
status,
diagram
user,
for me.
by means of one
I think
single
it's this one.
statement?
If you go on this one, then if you scroll a bit.
Well,
So-
yes, with many joins.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to do now.
Yeah.
So it is possible.
Yes.
technically.
I mean, you just join three tables to get the titles of the task and the name of the user, right?
Yes.
You can join as many as you want.
Yes, because I have just taken notes, so basically we need the table task, status and user.
Maybe that one.
So we need the data from there because we need task title, status name,
So you're
user
gonna see
name.
that
So this is what I want to see,
You
but I want to
already- you
see it
start
in
with
one
this
single
table.
table, in one
You
single
join this
statement, so
already
very
with
nice
that.
and clean.
You could join
Then
10
you need
tables.
to join this.
Okay. It's just like the matter of
So
syntax.
it's
What
not
do I
necessarily-
join first and how and on what? So
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, the
like
order is
depending
not very
on
important
what
because they're
data.
using inner joins.
yeah.
And
It
so
can
you
make sense when
can
you start
left joins or right
working
joins.
on
Because I think
But what I want you to remember from here is the syntax.
and
So
only one
select
joins
something.
in the other
Like,
way.
we don't even
Inner
need to
joins
if you
is
select
intersection,
something
so it doesn't matter.
from
So
something
inner join,
from a
inner join,
table.
inner join. Here, I just need the
I
syntax.
mean,
Syntax related to the
So one more
syntax.
data.
Thank
So
you.
one
I'll try.
status
Okay,
name.
thanks.
It's already in the other table. You join status table or this table, a different table. You join something
Then you get into the
based on a condition, and then you have the condition, and then you figure out okay, you need this ID from that table or this ID from that table. So I need you to always remember the order on how it goes. Can you say it now?
So now can I have this thing? So now I want to see also like this status name. So it's from basically one more join.
Yeah, you can do that. So you can join, I don't know. Oh, yeah.
If I want to join it, I need to use one like this.
and now I get title
That has something from this and
task
Yeah,
title of the
exactly.
task and
You could technically,
now what I want is
someone did it, but not, there was that example with the user task ID and user ID. Task is task, user is user, right? They have nothing. But yes.
They must to have some overlap.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, the condition is false. It's like, yeah, it can happen, like it's not an error, but it makes no sense. So it has to make sense. So in this case, like for example, when we merge this and this, the logic was that this status ID is basically the ID on this ID, right? And then we would say we would join based on what we will join this table with this table, what they have in common.
So basically they'll have to do this.
In this table. What? ID? No. Task ID means the ID from the task. User ID, it means the ID from the user.
Only join
This ID matches with nothing. So it's this is just a handful unique in this table.
and should I control that all the changes and then
Yeah, that's the primary key in that table.
So we cannot these
This red thing means that they are unique in another table. They come from another table. You see, it's like this user ID when it's red, it means it's come from this. Yeah.
user.name
And then the task ID comes from this.
user.name is containing from the very beginning user.name.
So now we need to get. How do we get the name? The name from the user. Yeah, but what do we need to join? Because we can't access it directly.
I think because I haven't mentioned my to use that user table.
So we are in the task table. How do we get to the user name? Yes. Yeah. This is, remember we start from one. So this is like the place. We always start from a table. In this case, it's task. Yeah? Okay, good.
Yeah.
How do we get to the username?
We use
That's how we, yeah? What do we join? Even if you look at the graph,
Table one dot
it has to go through this. So,
table one dot column.
no, you went one step forward. Yes. So we already got to this table. So we join these. Okay, what's the next thing?
Okay.
But you understand why, right?
Yeah, because we told mention it here, use it on that. There's a connection between there, we need to find the connection.
Yep.
Dot
This table is sorry, okay. And if I try to write
user underscore task dot user task
Even if you read it, you say user ID. I'm looking at the user table for the ID. Like it's so simple, right? And then say task ID means in the task table. And then, yeah. Like this is a common
User
convention
underscore
that
task.
you name it like that. You can even name it
user underscore task dot task
underscore ID and you can reference to the task, but then you're going to read the code. That makes no sense. So it's usually intuitive to write it that way. So it will guide you. It's this close to that. That's stuff like that. So it's like if we want to get this task name, then we have the task table. We look status ID from the status table, like it says in the column.
Just do whatever she said.
We want
Do what she said, and you will have the answer.
join it.
I can
Task ID. Then we have the task table with ID. We join on that. Boom, we got it. Should we write something?
Yes.
So fast from users.
Okay, what I wanted to show you here is like you can have it in different rows, so it don't get confused. So you select something from something, and then you just remember this. You select something from something, and then you join whatever table on whatever table. Right. You can even put it like you can leave it in one row, right? Okay, so
Here,
now
you need to look at
we
the
need to
always
get to the
the
user.
This is status
How do we
ID.
get to the user? Let's go back to
With
this.
the
You
status
see that
ID.
you basically
User
like,
underscore
So
task.
what was the first step? We're on the task table. What do we do
So,
now?
in this
You give them step 4. I need this one
the
here.
result
I
will be like
Yeah. That's the step, the next step. First we need to get into the user task.
until where shall I was
User dot name.
With
Did you make
User
your
dot name.
using the username on
it says it in the name.
I
Just write it down. So we continue. Inner join. Yeah, join. Doesn't matter. Inner join.
The last one is the one, right?
Here actually we have 4 tables. No, we have 3 tables. One for user task.
What do we join?
One
Remember.
for task.
What do we do?
One for status. Should have 3 tables. Yeah,
No,
but we have
no,
4
don't
tables.
matter. Look again. What do we join?
Because for first
Table name.
we are comparing task and status, and for the last one we are
Okay, so we have
I will go here.
So you need to always think like where you start
Same
from
kind
and
of
what you want to actually
I'm trying to write that.
Because
I can see
I don't understand
steps, like it's a separate statement. So this was like
We can join
What did
4
we
tables,
join?
right?
What did we join?
They are infinite number of
So leave the user. We don't talk with the user. We're talking about. We talk about what's the relationship between the two.
but they changed the class and because it's easier than not.
Let's write it down.
That's fine.
What if you get the username and task and I already
I'm just
Isn't that part of the user task?
Oh, and you got rid of the previous one.
No, I didn't.
No, the other one where you had just the title and the name of the user.
Wrong.
No, I never started.
Back.
No, but that's just the username, no, the username.
No, but this is not like I want to forget about this and the only thing is that this is
But you can
Wrong. What did we say about user?
I mean, you can keep on adding on this one.
With working with tasks.
Yeah, I know, but it's just, I don't have to execute every single thing, so I want to forget about this, whatever. This is how I want to. And I'm not really sure what to join with, and that's what I'm doing.
Diagram, please.
Exactly, that's why I started talking.
Oh, is that the
So, this is
What
how
about the user test? The user test.
Exactly, that's
Because that's the key to do.
exactly, that's why I keep these
Now,
things here, so like
we need to do
everything,
another
because
thing.
that helps.
What do we join now?
So what I want to connect is the user ID, find it in the
Status
these
of
tables.
user ID or status
What is
of
going off here?
Any of these tables.
Any
user
How many tables do we have here?
We have the
the user ID
What
is
do
only on one of
you try to complicate?
user
It's like, join the status, we join the user task, we start on left.
Okay.
Should we take that
But
one?
you need the user test first.
So it's like
Join.
okay.
Have the diagram.
So I want to incorporate it. No, good.
Yes.
But like, right now, we don't have any direct connection.
I'm doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wait.
I mean, I technically get it, but I just also confused with the speed.
You're not your
Let's write it down.
And I have only bad videos because I need to move here. I need to move on to something.
Yes, but you know how we show us more or less how to think
But
about
yeah, you can join.
exactly, and
And
this
then
is
another join with whatever.
That was what I was asking you. Maybe I was not clear what I want.
That's why I know that this table is absolutely
Because now I'm getting this user and I'm sorting things from this ID.
So right here you have the type user.
Yeah.
So you are going to join with the user task.
Yeah.
Because you already have the task, right?
Exactly.
So you need to go to the user task and then go to the user side.
And then on this was this? Is that it? Because that will make the query here anyway, so they're already joined, right? Because first I was trying to do the join.
You have his ID, right? Yes. So you need to correspond.
Now we're not done.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we did now is we joined the tables, so we have all the tables
Okay,
together.
so
Now I have to go inside
yes,
this
yes,
Update
user
this.
task is the table.
What do we type in there? What do we select? So we select something. Now we join, we have access to all the
User
tables.
task, user ID.
What do we have to
and
select?
I have
Last.
task ID. And now I have to join another
Go
table.
back to the tables.
Can I
Why
compare
did we
this
join
one
the
with
table? Like
Yes,
just
and then if you want,
voila,
yes.
let's write it
Just a
down.
quick question.
It would have been fun to just join it. And
Just
like, why not?
and then on
Let's have a join in there.
No,
Let's join the party. Yeah.
This is where
Okay, so we need to update the select.
Okay,
So,
people.
Alright, thank you.
So I'll do this query for you and explain how I do it. And then whoever still has issues, feel free to stay after class or to ping me on Slack, whatever. But I need to move on. So what I wanted to do was I wanted the name of the status, which I find here, for each title task, which I find here. And then I also want to know which user is doing that task, and I want the name for that user, which I find it here. And you see like the connections between tables. So from status and task, there's a direct connection. And you already know that you just use the foreign key, which is the status ID, which match ID in the status table. Easy peasy. Now what changed was the connection between user and task. No more direct connections. You need to go through user task. How are things associated with each other? So you have the task ID here that corresponds to the task, to the ID of the task there. You have the user ID here that corresponds to the ID of the user here. So you'll have to basically join all the tables and have the right condition thanks, to join them. So I'll start. Yep, we already did we do something? No, this is the wrong thing. Okay, so I'll start from the status.name, from task join status on status.id equals task.status. You can do it in different orders. I'm just starting with the easy parts. So right now I can get the titles of the tasks and the name of the status for that task by joining the tables task and status on the ID of the status and the status ID in the task table. Now for the rest. So right now I have joined these two tables, and now I need to join this one so that finally I can get to the user. So I'll go and I'm writing this, just trying to write it in a more readable way. So I'll join the user task. And now again, what's common between the task and the user task? And it's the task ID in the user task table refers to the ID in the task table. So that's what I will use. On user task dot task ID, it must be equal to the ID in the task table. And now, okay, so I have so far these three tables have been joined. Now I need to finally get to the user so that I can get to them. What's common again, like from all these tables, this user ID is the same as that ID. So join user on user task dot user ID equals user dot ID. And up there I say user dot name semicolon. I run these, I cross my fingers. What the heck is going on with my SQL? Okay, that's fine. You run things again and hope it works. So yeah, basically I'm like joining 4 tables and I'll have one join here, another here, another there. Maybe I should even, to be even easier to read, maybe do it like this. I know it's confusing in the beginning, but now I need to move on. So if you have issues, you know where to find us on Slack. Or also after the class. So far we've been doing only the part of reading from the database, and this is the more tricky part actually. So now I'm going to give you the easy stuff, which is just like creating tables, updating things, and deleting things, carefully deleting things. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to show you what to do. And then you'll also see like how you can figure out the foreign keys and all that stuff. So I've been saying this word foreign key for a while without really explaining what it is. But a foreign key is basically a constraint that you create when you create your tables that says that, for instance, the user ID here is really associated to the ID in the user table. And so I can use the code on GitHub. So the SQL file that you run before, it's creating all the tables. So create table user, and then you have each field. So ID, name, email, phone, and then there's stuff saying what's the engine and the character set and all those things. And you also have the type of each field. So integer, and I believe this 10 means like 10 bytes, I hope. It's also saying that it's unsigned, so it's basically, it probably starts in 1, not in 0. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, but it's never like -1 or -2. Why is this important? Because like you can only store like a certain size. You cannot occupy more than a certain size for the number. Like let's say the number cannot. Oh god. If you have both positive and negative numbers, you cannot go as high as in the positive numbers as if you only have positive numbers with the same space, apparently. And then I say that it cannot be null, so not null there. Auto increment just says that every time I add a new entry, I don't even need to set this field. It will just auto increment. If the last ID is 8, the new one will be 9. And then it says it's a primary key in our data. The names, emails, and phones are varchar, which basically means it's some variable length char field. The 255 just means the number of bytes for that, which, at least if you're using English, apparently that is also the number of characters. I'm pretty bad with these things, by the way. But I can send you the link where it is explained. And then I also said they're not null for email and name, but for the phone it can actually be null. So I just wrote null. This character set is like, I don't know if you remember last class when we created the database, I said like, yeah, use this character set with TF8 and before, because you can use Arabic characters, Russian characters, anything, and it will work out. So that's one place where you can also define it, instead of being when you create a database. For the table status, again you have an ID, it's an integer, 10, unsigned, not null, auto increment, it's also primary key. Then you have the name. And for the task, again, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Like this, you can just copy paste pretty much the same thing over and over. Just a second, that's the interesting part. There's a constraint part here. And this constraint, so I give it a name, like a variable, and it's very common that you say fk for foreign key, underscore, and then the name of the table that it is referencing. So then I say that the constraint is a foreign key, and I say the name of the field that's the foreign key, so in this case the status ID that I just created there. and I say which table it is referencing. So the status table. And then I also say which field in the status table, the ID there. Then there's this stuff on delete cascade, on update cascade. I'll be there in a second. But the point is, you create a status ID just like any other field, but then you set a constraint. Another thing that is very important is that the type is exactly the same as in the ID that's referencing to. So here the ID is integer 10 unsigned, and here it has also to be an integer 10 unsigned. If you forget the unsigned, for instance, you'll get an error. So we want to be safe, copy paste. And then change the name of the field. Of course, you could call this field anything else, but if you call it status ID, it's more obvious what it means. You could call it potatoes. It would work.
A little bit late to us, but are we recording?
Yes, I think so. I never pressed stop, so that's a very good question. I think it is.
Okay. Sorry.
No worries. And then in the user task table, yeah, you have. Where's the ID? Okay, so apparently on. Probably drew the schema from another database. Anyways, I have the user ID here and the task ID. And apparently I made the primary key like the combination of them. So if you want to have a primary key that is a combination of two fields, this is how you do it. Not super important because we should be creating an ID field there, which should be the primary key, just like we did in the other tables. And then again you have the constraints for the foreign keys. So user ID is one of the foreign keys, so you have here constraints, the name of the constraint, foreign key, user ID, references, user table, ID field. The other one is constraint blah blah. The foreign key is a task ID and it's referencing the task table on the ID field. Does this make sense? So this is how we create tables. Now the part about on delete cascade and on update cascade. Imagine that I'm going to delete or update one of the status in my status table. Maybe I decided to rename the done to, yay, it's done, whatever. That's actually not a good example. Let's imagine I just deleted it. I deleted the status, done. Now I only have in progress and not started, or whatever it is. Like, the question is, what happens in the status ID for the tasks that are the status done? And different things can happen depending on how you create your tables. So if you say cascade, and I delete my status done, then all the tasks that have the status done will also be deleted. Which maybe is not a good idea. On the update part, if I update the ID for the status done, which I'm not sure anyone would ever do, but if you say it's 10, then all the tasks that have a status ID 3 will become 10. And I think I did actually some examples here. The other options are to write there instead of this. Let me just copy. Maybe. Oh no, go away. Hello. Just give me a new. Yeah. There are two other options. One would be to say set null. And you can put different things on the delete and on the update. Like, it's up to you. Set null, if you choose that, what happens if I delete status number 3? Tasks that have status number 3, it will show null on that status ID. But the task stays there. The other option is to say restrict. And this is the default if I don't say anything. It will just not let me do anything. If I want to delete the status number 3, but it's being used by a task, it's associated with a task, I cannot. It will not let me. anything. So yeah, and I can show you quickly. So show databases, use href, cascade. So in this table, yep. So show tables. So I'm just going to delete some status and then you see what happens. So if I have, let me select title, status, ID from task, and I'm going to limit to 10 and hope it gives me enough status. Okay, so becoming a billionaire as state number 3. And now if I go and delete from status where ID equals 3. So I'm already showing you how to delete things. And it's very similar to the selects. I'm just saying delete. I'm saying from which table. And I'm setting the condition, the ID is 3. To be sure that you're deleting the right thing, maybe you do a select first. Or maybe never delete anything. But yeah, that's how you do it. So I'm going to do that, just so that you can see what happens. Yeah, right, I forgot to start. Yeah, but now if I do the same, not this select. Oh, right, yeah.
Because they need,
it disappeared, like in the first 10 entries, now we don't see any status 3, because those tasks were deleted. Like if I count all the tasks, now I have 23, and there were 35 or 6 before, because everything that other status done is gone. In the option of set null, I'm going to run the same things. So now it's another database where I created, where my constraints were like on update and on delete set null. So in this case, yeah, becoming a billionaire as status 3, and if I delete that, and I select again, I just see a null. That's what an update and on delete do. What else? So these are, you create tables. You can also alter tables. And where did I put my thingies? Nice. Ah. Thanks. Wait, you stole my stuff. So you can also change tables, like add new columns or delete columns. And the syntax goes, so let's say I want to add a new column to the status table. So it's just like something like alter table, add, what's a name for a column? Status tables. Well, it will be very action. Okay, action. So I'm adding this action thing. Maybe I'll say action 1. Apparently that's some word for MySQL. And I'll say that the type will be varchar, and I'll say that it can be null. Otherwise it's actually tricky because I'm adding a new table, a new column to a table that already has some entries. So if I say not null, I'm not even sure that works fine. Oh, alter table, and I forgot to say which table. Super smart. Yeah, I can actually try just for the sake of it. Where are my arrows? Wait, it works. Select all from status. Yeah, well, it works. It's not null, but what the heck? It's empty. It allowed me to do this. Okay, whatever. Yep, so that's how I do it. And if I want to remove it, it's pretty much the same thing, except easier, because all I need to say is drop, and I don't need to do anything else. And if I select again everything, I don't see it anymore. Yeah, to delete tables is also same thing. Drop table, table name, same syntax. Update. What do you mean update? Which a table?
How do I change it?
It's what? Wait, I want to change like a column name.
Maybe an
Yeah.
email ID to a different email ID.
Sorry, say that again.
Want to update a record.
Update
I
the
want
record.
to change
an
my
entry.
Ah, wait, you want to update an entry.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was actually going to that right after. So, okay, this was the stuff for the tables. There's probably a few more things that you might want at some point, but you can Google it.
I have a question that I don't understood from the phone.
Okay.
When it says change the title of a task with this action.
Wait a second, not yet. Sorry.
Ole!
Not yet. That's what I was going into now. Yeah, the homework will also have to be
Yeah,
changed.
sorry, can I ask you something? Alta, what does that mean?
Say again. Alter. To change, to modify.
Change. Okay. Another thing. Delete, on delete cascade or update delete cascade. Can we write in the first of the files? So because when we write this word or this line, so we should write it everywhere we want to create something. Can you come back? Yeah.
Here.
It's back here. So does that mean so delete before create before update to what you did now? So can we write it in the first of file? It's like when I write drop database blah 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 create database blah blah blah.
Sorry, I didn't understand your
Okay.
question.
Sometimes when we want to create a database,
Yes.
so we write the first of the command, the first drop database, for example,
Yeah.
hacker function, for example. So create database hacker function. And that means that when I do something in this file, so delete all the database before and create new database. So in this way, so you merge or you create new database with the same name. Can I do this here or not?
For the tables.
For the tables, yeah. It's the, if I
Yes.
can I?
You can also do something different, which I think you can also. So could you create table blah if not exists, and then you have your code like you had before. Something like this. Maybe that syntax is not correct apparently. I'll send you the correct syntax. But you can create a database if it doesn't exist yet. And you can also create a table if it doesn't exist yet. Or you can just drop the table first and then create it. And you can also, yeah, you can do like drop table blah if exists. And if you do this, you don't get an error. And again, I think the syntax is wrong. So I'll send you the correct syntax. Now, on manipulating entries, so these are for tables. Adding new columns, removing columns, changing columns maybe, and creating the tables. But if you want to insert data, again, we also have like that stuff for, and I'll just in the files that you use to create a database. For instance, there was this one to insert into user. So we're adding data to our user table. And the syntax goes like insert into table name, and then which fields you want to add, and then what are the values for each field. And this is like ordered, like so the first one here is the first one there.
Yeah.
So second, third, fourth. And for instance here you're adding the ID as well, but you didn't need to because it was auto-included. So you could just like, you just don't add it. And it will.
And if we try to add it, what it will say?
Well, if I
Will
try,
it throw error?
if I try to add one,
Yeah.
I hope so actually.
Yeah, it should throw error.
Because it's already there, and it cannot be repeated. Yep. Duplicate entry 1 for key primary. So yeah, but if I don't, I can probably do it because, yeah.
It will put
No.
it in the end.
Yeah, and it will. I can do that. Like if I select all from user, I have again Erika as the last one. So this is how you add data. You say insert into table that you want to add the new entry. You say which fields you want to actually write down. Because for instance, the phone can be null, so I could just add a name and an email. And this also doesn't need to be ordered. The only thing that matters is that the order in the values match the order for the fields. If you want to update, let me see if I remember the syntax. So let's say you want to update the email for Pavel. So update, I'll go into my notes. I'm not even gonna try. Yep. So update user, and then set email, let's say equals pavel@gmail.com, and I need to say in which entry, right? And this doesn't tell me. I don't know if this works, but if it does, it will probably change every email, which is not great. So you'd say again where, and in this case, name like Pavel. Again, this is a place where maybe you want to do a select statement first, because there might be many Pavels. Or if you want to be safe, use the ID.
So basically, whenever you are using update statement, you have to be very specific with the condition. Like, it's not like if you say Pavel,
Yeah.
it will update that specific email address for each and every entry. So very specific.
So actually what you should do here is you first do a select from user, and you see what you get when you check for Pavel. In this case, I only get one entry, so it would be okay to use it. But if you really want to be safe, use the ID, because the ID is unique, right? So you'd say where ID equals 7. And then let's run this. I didn't get any errors. Let's see if Pavel changed the email. It did. Yeah, this was the update. The insert you already know, and then you have the delete. Delete from user where ID equals 7, and then I will delete Pavel. And then what happens after that to all the tasks that were assigned to Pavel depends on what I put on the constraints, the foreign key constraints.
And the same as an update, if you don't put a where statement, it's going to be different.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yep, definitely.
But yeah, you'll probably not have to use delete. Or at least think twice, maybe 4 times actually, before you do the delete. Yeah, and I think that's it as far as I can remember from most things. Just one last thing, if you are not sure about the foreign keys, like, so yeah, we created before the diagram, and you can, even if there were no colors or you didn't know the meaning, you can kind of guess that user ID is associated to the ID in the user table. But if you want to really be sure about that, there's this command, show create table user, well, not user, in this case user task. And I hope this is the command, where you basically see the code that was used to create the table. So you can see the foreign keys for, yeah, the foreign keys. So you see that task ID is a foreign key. I just love to see the rest. You know, on the
if you right click, then you can copy the response.
Oh, so copy like fields? Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
Or maybe the hover.
Okay, yeah, copy field works. And yes, this is right. So I can see that, yeah, the user ID is referencing the ID in the user table. That's at least one way. I don't know if there are others, but this is a straightforward way to see what are the foreign keys exactly. 5 minutes left. Questions?
Yes. Pick a In homework, there is a thing.
Wait with the homework. I need to change the homework.
Okay.
Is it the first part or the second part?
Working with tasks.
Okay, you can go ahead.
So there is a thing. It says mark a task as complete.
Yes.
So we have to make a new column
No.
to say that it is completed.
To say they stayed too long complete.
So mark a task as complete. Okay. I adapted this from the last one because it was already like not super correct, and it might be ambiguous. If it is, just ask like you did now. That's nice and cool. Mark a task as complete. Basically, I'm saying pick a task, any task, and say it's complete.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
change this
Update the
status.
task.
Yes.
Update the
I
status
didn't
of the-
use the SQL language, you know. I'm saying like in normal people's language, English. Do this, do that, and then you need to think what do I actually mean. Yeah, and then I'll add you something else. Forget the creating database part. Yes,
Yes, you have only one homework.
I'll be updating it. There will be 2 parts, but
Because I was actually about to ask you to explain how we have to do the second one.
yeah, we didn't do it yet, so you know, I don't
Working
expect it.
task and creating database.
Sorry?
Working.
There are a lot of jargons like entity relationship diagram.
Yeah, the entity relationship.
Working task and creating the database.
Yeah, but she said she's going.
You're not doing the create database. I'm going to update the homework, and when I'm done, I'll post it on Slack.
So as of now, we have from this link, we have only the first one.
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions?
No.
I'm going to add some queries because you guys are like rusty as hell on queries.
I'm sure I read on this one.
That's fine. Write all you want.
Oh, I posted something with my comment later because I know it's realistically possible.
What?
Can I just check it? Because I didn't have
Which one? Which one?
I will ask you and check it.
That's us actually something for us.
For the speed meters.
I hope that doesn't work.
Yes,
that's
real quick, it doesn't work.
I mean, I don't think like that, but that's why I'm going to actually show it in the next class. Yeah, you can like in the search field. If you type things in a certain way, you can actually.
Martin, can you show me the result which you write?
The what?
Query for that problem which you given us in class.
The queries. Yeah.
The
Good thing that you're
answer.
asked. I'll just put these on Slack everything.
So
And I'll do that now.